Oh, are we in the copy one?
We are in the copy one for now.
Okay.
I just wasn't able to get everybody's sheets done in time.
That's all right.
D&D session 33, lads. Okay. Righty dokie, let's get this underway. Music Maestro, the intro, please. Last we left off, the Wayward Wanderers have finally put an end to their drow problem. After seeking advice from their good friend Spriggett, they decided on a course of action, wiping his memory of the mention of Baranoth being dead and inserting a new memory, talking of how Baranoth had put a bounty on Dranth. With these new memories installed, Dranth was a frightened wreck, begging to be mercy killed, and spiteful towards the party that he deemed to be irredeemably evil. After giving him some deserving parting words, the Wayward Wanderers left him, knowing that he would seek to escape the city immediately to avoid Baranoth's wrath. With their drow now disposed of, there was still the question of Gwen, who lay unstirring in a trance-like coma. Though the party was now sure that there was nothing magical perpetuating this, they took her to a hospital in the uppers. There they found her a private room and paid for several days up front so she would be cared for day in and out, without the fear of her starving or wasting away. With those matters now taken care of, the Wayward Wanderers returned to their room in the Ladies' Garden, to where they were informed that a message had arrived from the Lord's mansion and that his library was ready for their perusal. A brief lunch with Carnellin later and talking battle strategy for their impending arena match, the group has now set forth towards the Lord's mansion, brimming with ideas about what secrets it might unfold for them. Wayward Wanderers, I must remind you, every action has a consequence. Not everyone knows.
This every fucking week.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen every week.
I love it.
Not everyone knows every part of the story, and sometimes you may have to accept the unfortunate truth that some things may be lost to time, though hope always remains. There are a great many mysteries left unsolved, and though it's almost certain you will not be able to solve them all, if you put your heads together, you may just be able to make a difference, or even uncover something entirely new. Wayward Wanderers, here atop the plateau, looking across the beautiful landscape and the gorgeous garden that surrounds the upper class area, what would you like to do?
See, he always changes the middle part.
DM
Yeah,
Dax,
he
I
does.
must warn you, someone is going to be taking a shit this session.
Oh no!
We're not
no.
talking about that. That did not happen. I'm retconning it.
I remember it happening.
I haven't turned my camera on for you guys yet, sorry. So, you guys have just made it up the stairs. Cedric, you are of course here with us. We do not need to worry about that.
Emphasis on made it up the stairs.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys rolled really well.
Not 20 for shift.
Yeah, I don't need to be carried this time.
Is there anything you guys would like to do while you're up here, or are you just going to head directly to the Lord's mansion?
No, but I'd like to walk around, see if there's anything interesting going on, whether there are any familiar faces, whether people are looking at us, anything.
You almost immediately always get glances as soon as you walk up here. Mainly because there's a bunch of guards at the top of the stairs blocking everyone's passage through. But even past that, the citizens of the plateau are a different breed even from those in the uppers. They're always dressed in very ostentatious looking garbs, very, very well-fitting and incredibly expensive looking. You get the feeling that this entire area and the people within it basically do nothing but try to flex to each other constantly.
Mm.
This is an area of the city without a single shop, without a single local amenity like a pub or anything. This is exclusively a housing area
Okay.
and one with the utmost class and sophistication.
And we are all together. Cornellon's with us, and we're going towards the Lord's place.
Cunnan is with you disguised as Nyx, I believe, right?
I think so. That's what I was gonna ask next. What he looks like.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
A quick question on my part. How long was it since we left Dran?
It's only been like 2 hours since then.
Okay, and nothing on the alarm spell yet.
No, nothing on the alarm spell yet.
Okay.
Just chilling.
It's probably trying to recuperate the lost health he had as you left him on literally 1 HP.
We healed him, surely. No, we didn't.
You healed him, and then Nyx tried to stab his eye out.
Yeah, I mean, I did consider asking people to heal him, but then you mentioned that he's just going to take a long rest anyway, so there's no real point.
Oh yeah. And his long rest is literally 4 hours of trance. Like he's not even resting, really sleeping.
Yeah, I just want to make sure he leaves. I don't want him hanging around.
Yeah, exactly.
And
So
Pinchy
hopefully-
is staying at your
Okay.
guys' room in the ladies' garden as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't want Dranth getting like revenge on him or something. Yeah. if we leave him there.
He's done nothing really.
No, he's been helpful. He's kept an eye on Dranth twice. For some payment.
So, what to do?
Going towards the place where we're supposed to read books. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Heading around to the entrance towards the Lord's Mansion, there is always the familiar wall surrounding the Lord's Mansion. You can't see any aspect of it. The entire upper or plateau that you can see, you have to walk around the entire thing to get to the side of the wall where you would enter in from. The people here don't really have gardens. It's basically just their houses. And even still then, you see them walking together amongst each other, sometimes past a group of people that are chatting with one another. Every single time you walk past or even are remotely close to anyone, they all turn and stare at you.
Good question. Can I specifically keep an eye out for anything on any of the walls we go past that match up with those like claw marks on the wall on the ground?
Sure, absolutely. Give me a perception
Okay.
check to make that happen. $10? Okay.
So I don't know. So
As you make the decently lengthy walk, oh Jesus, around the entire plateau, as I said, everybody's staring at you. Everybody's giving you a stanky eye as you walk past, and it's only once you leave their range do you see them slowly start to turn and talk to the others again. It's not an inquisitive look. It's definitely a somewhat aggressive look. Anxie, you sort of pick up on the fact that you, with your passive insight, you guys really aren't welcome here. At least not by the regular residents.
Once I noticed that, I put my cloak, basically cover my head with the cloak, and then put my mask on.
Okay.
Not interested in being looked at.
So, making your way past the front and towards the entrance to the Lord's Manor, you come across the big guards barracks that's right outside it, and there are several guards right in front of the open doorway into the mansion itself. They seem to be expecting you and recognize you all immediately. Wayward Wanderers. The Lord is waiting for you inside. Would you like us to escort you in?
Sorry, we're being asked whether we want to be escorted towards the library place. Is that it?
Towards the mansion itself, first of all.
Towards the mansion. I reckon we should go, guys.
Yeah, let's hit it.
Well, follow me then. And you slowly are led inside the Lord's mansion. Takes you a while to get through because it's like a decently long walk through the brimming gorgeous garden inside the walls here. You're not exactly sure how this is all so pristinely maintained, but there's all manner of different flowers and trees and bushes of all wondrous colours. Eventually you're led into the mansion, and you remember from last time, it's the exact same layout as the layout from the mansion of Ral Nibblegup, Dewey's mansion, where you are led through a corridor and then immediately into the open chamber that has a dual staircase going up, and that giant etching behind the Lord's throne that looks very, very similar to a door that you think you saw underground. Lord Hennard is sat on his throne with an empty plate of food in front of him, seeming to have just finished, and eagerly waves you down as you see his humble servant Tayrin next to him, who you understand was responsible for organizing the library, starts to approach you. Well, hello, adventurers. It's good to see you all again. Boy, I only just sent a message and you're here already. It's you're an eager bunch.
Oh, we sure are. Hello.
I'm assuming that you want to go to the library immediately already, right?
Yeah, we'd be happy to. And before entering the place, I've already removed my mask and cloak, so it's not like weird.
Okay. Just before you do go, the Lord would like a word with you. And Tayrin sort of steps to the side and allows you to approach Lord Hennard Halfthird on his throne.
I look at Baylor and let him basically lead.
I'll step forward first.
Okay.
Step towards the Lord. Is it morning or afternoon?
It's just ticked into afternoon.
Good afternoon, my lord.
Oh, good afternoon, Baylor. It's great to see you again. It was a brilliant concert, was it not?
It was spectacular, my lord. I've never seen something like that before.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you for coming back to my humble abode, and I do still intend to go and see your arena match in the coming days. It's certainly going to be quite the spectacle. I know not of your opponents, but I certainly look forward to you giving them a good old whooping.
Thank you, my lord. We appreciate you inviting us back. And yes, we do intend to hand out a whooping.
Yes, I specifically asked Tayrin to find the excerpts of my ancestor's diary where the Nadzuritelli are mentioned, so that you may read it for yourself, with it being so long ago. I thought it might be of interest to you.
Thank you, my lord. That will very much be of interest to me.
I unfortunately must admit it's quite a small section, as barons are not often permitted as much time as we would like to journal, and it's doubly as difficult to keep a good record of the barons that came before us, especially the older ones. The one that you'll be reading from, I do happen to know, is the oldest generation of Halfthird, for which we have an entry from. So you're going to be witnessing and reading quite an old piece of paper indeed.
Wow, that sounds really interesting.
Yes, well, are you... I can't help but notice a strange member among your party today, and know that Carnellin has been traveling with you a lot. Is that him?
I'll just turn and sort of tilt my head a little bit and motion for him to...
Nix stands there You notice that the way Carnellen is playing Nyx is not like Nyx at all. He's very much standing almost in center of the room behind Baylor, as if he's like a supporting act lead role, and is waiting for his moment when Baylor turns to him and the Lord catches his eyes. Carnellen whips his hand into the air and snaps his finger, and the altar self fades off him, and Carnellen stands there, magnificent as ever. My
Sid's,
Lord Hennard.
Sid rolls his eyes while this is all happening.
When that happens, I use telepathic speech on him and I just say, tasteful? In his head.
My Lord Hennard, it's truly a pleasure to meet you again. I know that you've allowed the Wayward Wanderers to peruse your personal libraries, and of that I extend my thanks as well, for any favour done to them is a favour done to me. But I don't happen to share their penchant for history. I was hoping that you and I could have just a bit of an informal chat.
Oh, Carnellen, of course I can accommodate to such a thing. Would you like to have a stroll with me in the garden?
Well, my lord, that does sound exactly like what I would want. Absolutely, at your earliest behest.
Oh, of course, immediately, let's go. I've just finished my food. It makes perfect sense. Let's go.
And you watch as Lord Hennard briskly gets out of his chair. From what you remember, this is a spry old man. He's able to sort of like, not quite leap, but get out of his chair with a renewed sense of vigor. And him and Carnellen start to head towards a door in this chamber, and from what you can imagine, head out to the back garden.
What are you up to?
Oh, schmoozing, do what I normally do, he says back to you in your head.
Interesting. Enjoy.
I hope you enjoy whatever you read. It's not of particular interest to me, but I know it is to you.
Thank you.
Tayrin turns to you all. I assume we shall waste no time at all then. Should we go?
Yes, please.
Right. You are led up the left staircase and into a door immediately there. And into a very modest library. It's definitely not big. This is very much the Lord's personal accrual of books, and even looking across, you can see that there are several shelves where large sections are missing, where books have just been taken out, and what you can assume is stored somewhere else as they didn't feel it necessarily appropriate for you, or just didn't want to share that little aspect. What you do notice as soon as you enter the room is that there is one thing that's very particularly highlighted. There's a table in the middle of this library where there stands only one book. Though it is not just a book, it is just a couple of pages in a glass case. Tayrin sees you eyeing it anxiously and immediately points to you. Well, this is the excerpt from the old Baron's diary mentioning the Nadziratelli. Would you like to read it?
Baylor,
I would like to read it.
would you like to read it? Yeah.
Oh, brilliant. Please step forth and read. Baylor, as you step forth to the table, the glass case it is in is immaculate. A green velvet base and a glass sort of like window that opens up or down. It is locked, and as you go to like touch it, Tayrin says, excuse me, we appreciate and acknowledge you as being friends of the Lords, but we're not going to allow you to touch such an old piece of paper. Just to preserve its integrity structurally wise, as if you could just read it without putting your hands on the case, please.
Of course, no problem.
Well, Baylor, I will now begin to read to you the excerpt, and there is a little notation on the top of the glass case. It says, Diary of the late Baron Hegwall Halfthird. It is 2 simple pages. Very, very old. One of them a little bit crinkled. Not quite like tea stained, but you know when paper gets really old. This is potentially like 1,000 years old plus or more. It's hard to really know because they themselves don't really know exactly how many generations back this is and how many generations from the start of the island's history this is. But it reads as follows. And here on this day, I must speak of the most monumental and wondrous occasion that has been bequeathed to my most enthused self. A delightful small and swift bird came darting and diving, evading all obstacles, directly to my personal chambers. Though deft and wild in nature, the humble servant sat patiently on my intimate writing desk, adjacent to the very book this was written into. After gentle approach, this bird in fact turned to be a messenger. Delicate wisps of the verdant arcane shimmered here forth, when a deep and paternal voice bounced among my stalwart walls. My best recollection of the sounds that trembled my very soul is found below. Here's a paragraph jump, and a small quotation. Baron Halfthird, it has been long since I've spoken with your lineage. I shall visit 1 week from now to reignite those vital relations. Adriellis. And now you see that my words were not florid for their scent alone. The most noble Nadziratelli have declared visitation. One that it is my utmost responsibility to hold with all dignity and prestige that it should be rightfully awarded. Before even taking the modicum of time necessary for penning this entry, I have already set to task a score of servants, whose purpose it is to both acquire and create items and trinkets which align in repute with the most venerable guest they shall be presented to. Both I and my future self know how dearly I wish to exsanguinate every last drop of excitement brimming through my person and commit it to these here pages. But alas, my duties as Baron are ever persistent, and now I must also balance the planning of an event that even my father had not the pleasure of hosting. The choice of the music alone I could spend a lifetime debating, but many such decisions need to be made quickly and decisively. I sincerely hope that I shall be permitted the time in the coming days to properly commit to parchment all these feelings and emotions that quiver my very soul, lest I forget them in my older age when exact details are an aspect of life which will be lost to me. This was the first of 2 pages. The second page, evidently from a much later entry, reads as follows. The day of the event has already come and gone, mimicking those most marvelous storms of wind and thunder, beautiful and ominous, sequestering every present individual to only sit in wonder at what they had bore witness to. Nary a moment to think nor pen what my own storm of emotions was producing, but I must declare that every second of both the planning and execution of this historical event made my soul sing with tunes that I thought it not capable of rendering. Adriellis, in all his verdant beauty, had burst forth from the Steadworth oak that had stood solemnly in my garden for as long as I have remembered. Sporting antlers of sycamore adorned with its own leaves, he stepped through a verdant breakage in the old oak. Thrice my size, and gentle of steps he stood before me, a humble and pleasant smile on his face, and the fur of his body neatly kept and cleaned. Before a single word was uttered, a squadron of pigs erupted from the breakage. They swarmed the garden and stood in formation. I am aware of the ludicrosity of what I am about to write, but know that there is no exaggeration to my words. Each and every pig synchronously stood up and began performing a ballet routine. Delicate and gentle they had suddenly become, and pranced around the garden while several more pigs stood behind Adriellis, making music to accompany the performance. I and all my staff could only stand mouths agape, even once the performance graciously came to a close. I am not usually one to worry about the minutiae of equalizing gifts for the sake of social capital, but in this moment, even I felt quite inadequate when I presented this giant and stoic being with a small pruned tree with painted golden leaves. He held the tree and pot in the palm of his hands and spoke earnestly of its meaning to him and the evident care with which it had been treated. The entire day, though unbeknownst to anyone outside the mansion, was a day filled with music, dancing, food, as well as endearing and careful discussion. Adrielus is the most welcoming and loving of people, encouraging and at some points enforcing that every person within the mansion have time to bear witness to this historic occasion and indulge in the music and food for themselves. Though I must return to my duties once more, I hope to write more of this entrancing moment of my life, and wish to echo to all half-thirds that may follow me that we must maintain good relations with the Nadzaratelli, for their responsibility is just as important as ours. And that's all it is. 2 honestly quite meager pages. You probably had hoped that there would be quite a bit more. But having been an event that happened so long ago, this is all that remains.
Is that how far the forest has been cut down then? That it used to be at this, like, outside of the city? Can you hear me?
Those of you who have grown up on the island, roll me a history check.
Hold on a sec.
Does my one count?
Yeah, I would say so.
So it's everyone but me.
But I mean, we already knew that the forest had been cut down quite a lot, right? And then he just said that the forest was on his doorstep.
He said that Andrelis came from the giant oak tree that stands in his garden.
Yeah.
Zinni, you do know that the Asimel Woods it used to expand quite a bit more, and it's sort of common folktale just how massive it used to be, and it used to completely surround Ral Nibelgup. But it has receded quite a lot, especially more so after Dewey's becoming Lord. The forest hadn't been around Ral Nibelgup, the city, for hundreds of years at this point, but after Dewey took over, it receded quite a bit more sort of recently.
I'll also say that druids have a spell called transport via plants.
Yeah, I told her.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, basically anywhere a plant exists that's big enough, a very, very high level druid can use it as a focal point to teleport to.
So yeah, Baylor's gonna be teleporting us through trees.
Can I look around and just see if I see any like warlocky looking tomes? Anything interesting looking?
You trying to see if like the Necronomicon's chilling on a section in the library.
It's worth a look. Yeah, never gonna know if you don't look.
Might as well.
There are some very, very old tomes amongst this library, though none bear some sort of eldritch resemblance to them. If you want to try to look up something specifically, Tayrin is there and has let you know, while you guys were reading this and in the coming time afterwards, that should you want to know about something specific or have any questions, he can try to direct you to a book or place that might have something a bit more appropriately written.
So is it
I want
time?
to ask him. Are there any plans of like a building we're in?
Oh,
Trying
yeah.
to find out if there's anything about like the underground like wall.
Plans of the mansion itself? Oh no, this was the mansion itself is the oldest thing here. Is that every wall and room is built as it was built when it originally was. There's been no additions or changes to the structure of the building. and it has existed as long as we know. We do not know who built it. We can only assume it was whoever the first half-third was to come here, or at the very least they had it commissioned. That is as unfortunately as far as we know.
Kaylin, do you have any books about religion or gods?
It's rather peculiar.
Or a
you'd-
fantasy section?
It's rather peculiar that you'd ask that, as that's not something all that learned about on this island. The Lord doesn't have too much personal interest in the domain of gods, but is there something specific you might want to know, or is it just conceptually and generally?
I heard something recently about the god of death, the Bone Maven.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know if there's anything about that?
About the Bone Maven itself. Let me have a quick search through. Oh, has just come to mind. I know exactly where to find something for you. And he runs off into off to a bookshelf that you can see on the side and starts thumbing through the books, and starts flipping through the pages. Yes, here we go. And he starts waddling back to you and presents the book to you. The book is just a small excerpt about gods in general on Zemia. The book very much is not about this, but it is a section within it. What it tells you is that it's a very, very flowery depiction of the gods first coming to Zemia. It talks about a long, long time ago how they came here. They were not originally from here. They came and they put a monstrous amount of beings onto this planet. The chief among them being humans. Humans are literal exact creations of the gods, and they've been put onto this world to experience its beauty, and to live alongside the native populace at the time. The one thing that it does mention about the Bone Maven is that she did not come, or they did not come with the gods. They followed the gods. Something about how it's written makes it seem like it was reluctant. They didn't necessarily want to. They followed them out of some kind of obligation. And that's all there is.
Aaron, do you also have any books around symbols on the island and symbols relating to the lordship of the island?
I can't remember off the top of my head. Did you guys discuss with Hennet and Tayrin about the symbol on the door behind his throne? Because I know
He
you.
lets us detect magic and stuff.
Because I feel like I remember you telling him about the fact that you had seen it before in a tunnel underground or something.
I think we did tell him that we've seen it before, and I
Um,
think all they told us was it was the Baron's symbol.
yeah, I'm not entirely sure we told him where we saw it or whatnot, but
Okay.
we definitely mentioned it.
You wouldn't happen to be referring to the symbol on the etchings behind the Lord Hennet's throne, would you?
Yeah, we just are curious.
Well, since your last visit here, I did find it most curious that you had asked about it, and it's something that I've not personally looked into too much myself beforehand, but I tried to have somewhat of a deep dive on it this time. Throughout all the books that I found here, there, fortunately, really wasn't that much to do with it. All the best that I could find was that it's something that a shared symbol across what was referred to as the barony, which is referencing to all the barons on Ralvirkil at the time. It didn't mention anything to its purpose or to its meaning. I can only assume it's of some kind of recognition, maybe what they thought would be an early flag or logo for the island. It's unfortunately really, really hard to gauge what it is, just because it's been there and etched into the wall as long as this building's been here, and no one seems to know why.
Yeah, it's an interesting piece of history that seems to been lost upon people, I suppose.
It is. It's a rather inconspicuous symbol. It just looks like a bunch of lines for the most part. It doesn't look like it actually depicts anything or is like emblematic of something. Whenever you usually find like logos or emblems or symbols, they usually like somewhat depict that which they are representative of. But symbol of that barony really is just a bunch of zigzags, it looks like.
I think there's definitely more than meets the eye that we just don't know.
Well, should you ever learn, I'd be most curious to know myself as well.
Likewise.
Dron said the same thing.
Well, you guys are spending time in the library. Does anyone else like to ask about specific things?
No, I just wanted to come see the books.
Okay. I was just
on.
going to ask two things. Did we see have because obviously we walked around the building a bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Have we seen any stairs or anywhere leading down?
You have not.
Okay, just want to ask him, are there any lower levels to this building?
Lower levels? You mean like a basement or something?
Yeah, similar to that.
There is a wine cellar, the entrance to which exists in the rear garden. It's just a small, like, little underground room where barrels of wine and alcohol are kept.
Was that like fairly recently built, or was that as old as this building? You know?
Yes, it is as old as like any aspect of the building. As far as I know, no one after the people who had built it made it, and I can only assume that, though I've not confirmed this for myself, I can only assume that the other lords have a similar mansion themselves.
Do you mind if we take a look?
Well, I must ask why.
I'm just curious when it comes to this building, if there's any further lower levels.
I don't know about lower levels. The building, as far as I can tell, and written in some later Half-Thirds Lord's diaries, was that this was a mansion that was built conceptually very defensively, as if it were to keep guard of something, and they were expecting to potentially have to do battle with people winding their way up the plateau and the uppers. This is a mansion that was very specifically built up here, as far as we can tell, to defend something, though it's no clue what they may be defending. I'm sorry, I can't tell our expedition into the wine cellar. It'd be most unusual and too out of the ordinary to allow. Sorry. Great amount of work has been put into allowing you into just this aspect of the building. I don't think you shall be permitted to see further rooms or places inside it.
Speaking out of character, is it worth? I'm just thinking if there's a secret passage leading to like the underground, but it's probably going to be in the wine cellar.
Hmm. I don't know.
Nah.
Okay, we'll leave it then.
It's a good idea. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're gonna let us, because they're already, letting us into too deep for a normal person, and I don't think, like, judging by the reaction you've just received, I don't think that's happening.
Yeah,
You-
like metagaming a bit, like how Dex reacts to it. Like he leaves an opening, right? Like if there would be something there, but he wants to create a hurdle, he would have differently approached this. So I just don't think there's anything there, or he hasn't prepped it.
No, I don't. I don't think that's entirely it. I think he's just playing it as what the NPC would say as a reaction, really, because it is a bit unusual. You're literally asking him whether we can go into their wine cellar, and it's not something that a person coming into the palace would be like. Also, for no reason at all, we'd like to go and check your wine cellar after asking him about.
But he flat out said no. He didn't say like no, but you could ask the Lord. Something
Yeah.
like that.
I mean, if you want to convince
Okay.
him, I'm sure like Connellan likes his wine. Would really like to see his wine collection.
I think you might have a chance if you ask the Lord, and if you try to be persuasive with it, who the fuck knows. The thing is, you've already asked about plans of the whole mansion, which is rather suspicious. And now asking that, so you should be careful how you approach it, if anything. But I do think it's an interesting idea, basically trying to go see there whether we can, get to the place we've actually found in the tunnels. That would be
Yeah,
neat.
I'm just thinking because obviously we've been in like 2 of these buildings now.
Yeah.
We've only really been in 1 room, and there's obviously something.
Mhm.
Yeah, there's that plaque behind the phone in that room, but we don't. There could be other stuff in other rooms we don't know about.
Yeah, I reckon we should probably try and definitely get on his good graces, and then try again and ask whether we can do somewhat of a tour or something. Like, it's definitely worth asking. Don't get me wrong. I think it's a good idea. But I think we should be asking the Lord, if anyone, because
Okay, well I'll leave it for now then.
yeah. Was that both your questions?
Oh, well, the other question I had was have you ever seen, speaking of symbols, have you ever seen this symbol before? I just used minor illusion to show the claw marks that we saw on the ground. Not really a symbol per se, but symbols.
I
Or any
mean, it's
grills or anything.
peculiar, but it's too abstract to be some sort of symbol, I imagine.
Does he seem genuine in his reaction?
Roll an insight check.
Try and do that as well, so I was one asking.
Sure.
20
As best as both of you can tell, Tayrin just seems perplexed. It is literally just 5 scrawlily drawn lines, and that's it. Like he's bewildered as to how this could even mean anything, let alone why you'd be asking about it. It's like he could understand why you would ask what a symbol is. This isn't even a symbol. This is literally just 5 lines.
Okay, that's all I had to ask.
Also, we were all present during the discussion Andrews had with him, right? Would have been okay for me to cast Detect Thoughts on him and just read his surface thoughts without him noticing by using my sorcerer abilities.
Is Detect Thoughts one of the psionic spells? It is, right?
Yep,
Yes, it is. Mark off the sorcery points for it, and you cast Detect Thoughts without any verbal or somatic components.
I think it's 1. Oh no, it's 2. Yeah, done.
As you cast the spell and you start to scan his surface thoughts, as he looks at this symbol, he's kind of just like, oh, sorry, what?
Not the symbol.
Mhm.
It was about what Andros was asking him before, about the plants and.
Oh, in the basement.
Yeah,
He's
I
like-
wanted to see what he was thinking when he was being asked these things.
His immediate thoughts on being asked for plans of the building are just, that's weird, that's really weird, but there, like, isn't any, so, whatever. That's the immediate thoughts that happen in his brain. And then about being asked to have allowed to search through the wine cellar, his immediate thoughts are, that's extra weird. What? No, we literally just store wine there. What are you talking about? Those are his inside thoughts happening in his brain.
So once that's done, I use telepathic speech on Andros and I tell him, be careful what you ask him. He finds your questions rather weird and they might have some negative effect.
I just mentioned to him that I'm a fan of architecture and wine.
Roll me a deception check.
Now, would that deception be with advantage because I'm currently disguised as somebody else?
Who are you disguised as right now?
What's his name?
Levant.
Nick, not Nick's Levant.
Levant, I think he was Levant.
I don't think so, because the advantage that you get is about trying to mimic people, and this isn't about like coming across as him. This is more about like believe what I'm saying. As you tell him you're like a fan of architecture, you just kind of like, huh? And like holds his eye a little bit closed and just like nods his head up and down, and is like, Anxie, you hear the surface thoughts being like, I mean, that makes sense, yeah.
And I just make a point of like looking at the wall, looking at the archway of the door, and like nodding.
just walk up to like a blank wall and just like, yes, okay.
I say to Andros, weirdly enough, that worked. He bought it. Well done. Okay. Throughout this whole time, while everyone was asking him about books and stuff, I would have probably just started looking for stuff on my own.
Wandered off and just started flicking through things exactly as I imagined it.
Because I was already too excited to see books and I just wanted to read everything I could get my hands on related to the things I've already sent to you. So I'll definitely start with island history, old records about anything related to that.
Okay.
If there is anything more, and Esbjerg Hills information for sure.
First and foremost, one of the things that you first come across throughout this library is a glass-framed picture of a map of the island. You notice that it's a significantly older map just because of how old the paper is. But what you immediately notice upon scanning over the island is that several of the towns and cities on it don't exist. Dalincasa, Julian, Edgewood, Viridside, Bridgewater, Windslash Point, Bitterbark, Grimscorn Manor, Fool's Rest, Northwind, and Traderstone are not present on this map.
Yeah, that's it. Only those.
Can we see the map? Do you have a picture of it for us?
Dude, that's so many.
No. The map basically looks pretty much the same as it does now, except wherever those cities are on your current maps, it's basically just either plain open fields or just a road running straight through it.
And
One
is
other
there-
thing that grabs your
Yeah.
attention immediately as you're scanning across the map and making a mental note of all the cities that don't exist is that something else is missing.
What is it?
The map
Well,
doesn't have Ironfetter. Or at least just the name of it. Because it seems that whatever Ironfetter used to be once ran under a different name. And the name strikes you, because it's instantly recognizable.
Mm.
The city of Ironfetter was once called Ral Andruk.
Oh, what, sorry?
Ral Andruk.
should we ask more about it?
No, she
Yeah.
just.
Were you not hearing me at all?
No.
No, you disconnected.
Ah. Okay, so I was asking whether this name means anything to me. Like, have I read anything about it since I was here on the island? Does this second part of the name mean anything except for just a word I'm hearing for the first time, probably?
Those of you who grew up on the island and Anxi, roll a history check.
Would it make sense for me to roll a history check?
It would not. Okay. The name doesn't mean anything to any of you.
Fair. And is there anything on the place where Esberg Hills is supposed to be? on this
It
map?
is still even at that point, however long this map may be ago, labelled as Esbarg Hills, with the denoted ruins on the hills.
Mhm. That's curious, okay.
Tayrin notices you eyeing this map and comes over to you. It's old map of the island. Interesting, is it not?
It is extremely curious. There's so many missing cities, and Ironfetter's name is rather weird, isn't it? Do you know anything about it?
Oh, yes. Ral Andruk, yes. It changed a long time ago now, when the ruler of Ral Andruk abdicated their throne. It's a somewhat decently known folk tale among the more learned of the island's natives. You know what? Rather than ham-fistedly recall the story to you myself, how about I go and get and he runs across the library and grabs a little book and here. This is just people of Ironfetter are very, very fond of their history and make sure to always refer back to this, at least those who care to know it. And you start
Interesting,
to
thank you.
thumb through this book, or the section that he has opened for you. And it starts to talk about how the Andruk family abdicated their seat as ruler in favor of a new form of governance. Ral Andruk at the time already had an established culture of killing sea monsters that spawned off of their coast. And after several tumultuous times and pressure from the equivalent of noble houses in Ral Andruk, Baron Kefix Andruk abdicated the throne to the noble houses. But it's mentioned that these were no normal noble houses. These were families and houses that had made a name for themselves in the two singular realms that Ral Andruk valued most: killing and crafting. It talks about how, as the heads of the houses bickered amongst themselves about who should rule, a prominent young man, no older than a teenager, and one of the most skilled monster slayers, proclaimed that he knew best how to rule this city. Amongst this discussion, and in a fit of frustration, one of the heads of the houses proclaimed that he would only bow to someone as lowly as him if he sailed away in a single-man boat and returned dragging a monster thrice its size. To which the young man rigidly stood up and agreed. Everyone shocked, and he just immediately turned and started walking off. All manner of people tried to get in his way, pull at his arm, beg him to reconsider, but he kept stoically marching towards the seafront. Word spread like wildfire, even just on his walk down to the bay, and more or less half the city was watching him in awe as he sailed away in a single-man dinghy rowing towards a lashing of tentacles on the horizon. Half a day later, the man returned. With the entire city bathing him in cheers, he came into the harbour considerably slower than he had left, because behind his boat he dragged the corpse of a monster that would go on to be measured as 8 times the size of the boat he had left on. As the entire city more or less cheered the young man's name, the noble houses knew better than to go against the will of the people and named this young man ruler of the city. In the young man's first speech to the populace, he immediately rejected the power that he was given, to the shock of everyone, and proclaimed that Ral Andruk will never be a city ruled by a single person ever again. He talked about how a small council would be formed among the noble houses that have earned their place, and that they themselves will decide how best to rule the city. Shortly after this small council was established, the name of Ral Andruk was changed forever to Ironfetter, a name that always reminds them of the stink and fumes that the city perpetually smelled of, a smell that existed because of the city's culture of killing and crafting. Forever will Ironfetter stink of fish carcass and metal, for forever will their eldritch opponents knock on their front door. The last thing that this young man declared was that his name be stricken from every history book. For Ironfetter does not have a ruler, and no single person's name shall ever be associated with the city again.
Wow.
My hero.
Sounds like an awesome guy. Like, who the fuck was that? How long ago was that?
How long? That's a good question. I think at this point it's over 1,000 years ago. And to this very day, the small council still rules what is now known as Ironfetter, and what we all know to be Ironfetter. Very few people, like outside of those who care to be learned about history, know about the previous name. Many of them know that it was declared that there will be no single ruler of Ironfetter, but few remember that it was actually once a city, a Ral city, Ral Andruk, that there was an actual family that ruled it. It's been a long time. They hold dearly to that, though the small council has expanded and changed, where they dynamically decide who deserves to be a part of it. They still maintain that tradition.
That's fun. Thank you. That's been insight on it actually makes lots of sense why Ironfetter has its name now, and it's quite interesting. Thank you. Once I'm done listening to him, I just move on and look for the rest I can find on the island's history, if there is anything, and just basically what I already mentioned. And if there's none of that, I would move on and try and find stuff on the Zenith Institute, maybe the Indies, anything about fake creatures that's there. if I found anything, I'd be definitely reading it.
As you were flipping through like the island history section, there's a small section as well on world history, and as you're flipping through one of the books, you see a name that sticks out from the page to you. The Grey Scar.
You okay?
It's only briefly mentioned in passing, but what it's described is a site of a large-scale and historic battle that completely wiped out two small opposing nations. It mentions about how nobody knows the exact reason for why nothing grows there anymore, but makes several mentions of local folk tales that talk about how the land itself is still being so mournful at the gigantic loss of life that the very land itself is no longer willing to continue living after what it witnessed.
Based on other things that I've read outside of the island, do I know more about that? Anything other, except for the information about these two nations basically being wiped out, and maybe the reason for that happening and stuff like that?
Roll a history check. No, there is nothing more that you know about
Okay.
the Grey Scar. There's a lot of information that you've gleaned through across your reading of historical books. This has been the most that it's been mentioned, specifically about the local folktales part. That's something that you weren't aware of before today.
Okay. Is there anything else?
Moving on
I
from
found?
that, you do find a small section on the Zenith Institute. However, it basically just recalls exactly what Dranth told you about how, after what was written at the time to be the Esbarg disaster, there was lots of animosity amongst the city about various levels of blame and responsibility that people held, and that all the island's warlocks were corralled and put into this prison. To where, after, was it like 7 years, the warlocks then
8.
tried to, was it 8? Whatever, tried to coup the prison, and in doing so, got themselves all killed. And after all the warlocks were killed on the island, and there was no more people they could put in said prison, there was no further use for the prison, and eventually was bought by Kelthar, who then turned it into a school.
It is 8 years, I just checked.
It does mention about how Kelthar lived a bit longer than people would have expected him to. There is some minor sort of like conspiracies that are mentioned about how he magically prolonged his life, or perhaps he was a changeling in disguise, or a couple of other different things, but it's mentioned that he definitely lived a lot longer than he should have.
So there's not anything else but that on the Zenith Institute. Interesting. Thank you.
I'm interested. Is there anything there like where they got all that void stone from?
It mentions about how it was imported and at a very, very steep price. What else? The Indies, you do find a small section on. They are, as you know them to be, an independent military force. They do not answer directly to any of the lords, but it is mentioned in there that they were started and formed in response to a devastating attack on the city of Riverstead, and that since that devastating day, various people from all over the islands and from all different walks of life felt that they couldn't sit idly by, knowing and basically waiting to die. And so the Indies were formed. They patrol mostly the western coast of the island, up and down, with various points that they frequent a bit more than others, as in the coming years they sort of like mapped out where Shamblers normally spawn, noting that it usually spawns on the western side of the island.
Okay. And there is no information on who they might be connected to.
Might be
Like
connected
any-
to. It's literally completely independent. They don't
Okay.
answer to any of the lords. All their funding is done themselves through like services
Okay.
that they lend out to different cities at times and things, but that basically most of their services end up being paid by the local guards, because if an independent military organization saves your city from certain destruction, you don't really have a say about whether you pay them or not. You basically do, or your city may not exist soon.
Okay. And anything about fake creatures, changelings, additional stuff about that, or I've pretty much exhausted the team.
The only thing that's mentions fey creatures is how it mentions that this island is missing a lot of fey influence that the rest of the world has, and that's it.
And one last thing, I will be trying to look for, rather secretly, just out of curiosity.
Mhm.
I'd be looking for anything on Carnelian or any places that match the description of the temple we were teleported to.
That's a hard
Even though
one.
it's... Yeah, I know, but I'll still be looking for it.
Roll me an investigation check.
Please. If it's bad, I'm gonna reroll with a lucky point, just so you know. Yeah,
Surprise, surprise.
nothing better.
With a
Oh, well.
15, you really have a good flick through basically all the books that you feel would be relevant to it. There isn't too much written in this library at all about what exists beyond the island. Necessarily, as life
Fair.
on the island is difficult enough as it is, why would you need to learn about stuff outside of it? There are a couple mentions of like different temples that exist, but none of like the dilapidated sort that you visited. This talks about Plisco, one of the most ancient cities in the world, but outside of like the actual like mainstay, very well-known temples dotted around the world, there isn't really anything mentioned. Sorry.
Are there any maps of the world or globes or anything like that?
There are not.
I'm just wondering if you can narrow down where it is, because you know it was a different time of day when you got there.
Yeah,
About
sorry.
narrow down the continent.
There are no maps of the world. Sorry.
Okay.
With regards to
You ans-
oh, sorry. With regards to Carnelian, you know that he's visited the island before, and you know that likely will be mentioned in the current Lord's Journal, but that the current Lord's Journal is completely missing from this entire library. Understandably so as well. But you can't find any mention of Carnelian through any of the books. What were you going to say, Zinni?
Did you answer any of my questions that I put in the chat?
So, were places like Edgewood Julian a part of the forest before? Yes, the forest did used to expand. Let me take you all to the island map a second. So,
I can't see anything. Oh wait, it's down there.
the
Mine, I
island,
can't see it.
the forest, as far as you know, at least used to extend.
But we just saw a picture of the map, right? So,
There is no picture.
oh,
He doesn't have it prepared. He just said what was missing on it.
but even though there's no picture that he's prepared, is there one in the book or no?
One in the book of like the old map. Yes, there is. On the old map, the where the fuck is my lines going? I'm not doing it on the token map.
You can see the black line.
Oh, you can. Okay, and there we go.
Yeah.
It's not showing on my screen. That's fucking weird. It's showing on that
Hmm.
screen. But yeah, that is the line that you can see that the forest used to take on this very, very
So
old map.
Quite a few of those towns that are not listed were previously a part of the forest, and now they've been built. Are all of them like? Can't remember. I know Edgewood is a part of Ral Nibblegup. Is like Julian in that as well, or is that part of?
Edgewood, Julian, and Southport are within the domain of Ral Nibblegup, and they fund for the guards to actually go there. Paid via the taxes and this sort of thing. Ironfetter pays for any city along the west coast up to Northwind. Steadworth covers Brumaris, Traderstone, and Rydell. And Ralrelvin covers nothing. Ralhathard covers Bridgewater, Windslash Point, and Settleton. Gallincasser is very independent. Fool's Rest gets no guards whatsoever. And you've heard historically about several attacks that have happened at Fool's Rest.
Where's Fool's Rest? I can see it.
Up the top next, or between Frostbluff and the Hole.
Yeah, I see it.
And you yourself, having lived there, or lived in the area at least, know exactly why this place is called what it is. Because you'd be a fool to rest there. No matter how tired you may be, continue on your journey and get away from the hole as soon as you can.
Was Riverstead missing? And Veerside?
I will post the list. Jesus, my throat is going. Oh my god.
Veerside wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
Northwind wasn't there.
Yeah, it wasn't.
My city.
Riverstead was on this old map.
And it was just like surrounded by forest then?
Yes, almost entirely. Well, Espark Hills had sort of been minorly cleared out to about what you can see now. There was still like sparse trees in between them, but it still... Forest did go all the way around the border, at least, of Riverstead.
Bitterbark wasn't there, Grimscorn Manor. This is interesting. Where's Traders? Oh, Traderstone's there. Windslash Point. That's really far. And then you mentioned that Einfetter, whatever it used to be called, were known for killing sea creatures, but they're known for like dealing with the Shamblers as well, right? Is that related?
They are very similar.
Eldritch.
Yes, they're definitely eldritch in nature. You living somewhat close to it, you would definitely have like learned somewhat at least. The sea monsters that exist off the coast of Ironfetter are absolutely eldritch in nature. One of the ways that they massively differ though from the Shambles is that their bodies don't disappear after they've been killed, which is partially why Ironfetter makes so much of the business that it does. They are in the business of killing and crafting, and what they craft is from the bodies of these monsters. They have their own sort of weaponry and armor, and one of the biggest trades and the biggest export of the island itself is from the strange alchemical ingredients that come from distilling down and harvesting an eldritch sea monster, which are usually bottled up, shipped across the Blood Valley, and onto a ship at Dragon's Rest to the mainland.
Sounds like we need to go fishing.
Though there's never been any, like, formal research done into like the links between the two. It's generally accepted that the Eldritch Sea Monsters off the coast and the Shambles are sort of like similar and like bear resemblance to each other at least.
They're like cats and tigers. They're both felines.
Yeah, in that, like, you know, they're like the Shamblers that come onto the island have a aquatic theme to them. Tentacles, big shells and barnacles, throwing
This sounds a lot like
ink and oil.
Cthulhu.
stuff that Andros is doing.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, Andros quite literally summons a Shamble, which is something that nobody ever even has thought is possible. Shamblers on this island have always thought to be sort of akin to natural law, something that just happens as naturally as the sun rising. It's just something that happens here. And in fact, when people are told that there are, well, in any other part of this world, Shamblers don't spawn naturally, it comes as like a puzzling realization and further enforces the idea that this island is cursed.
Oh, there's a bunch of naughty warlocks somewhere just causing chaos.
Oh, spoilers.
Could be anything.
Lex is like, fuck, now I have to rewrite the plot.
Yeah, fuck no. But yes, that's the list of cities that went there. Several of them make sense. Edgewood you've been to, it's a very, very small city, and you can imagine that, like, not long ago it just simply wouldn't have existed. But there are definitely
It's not
some
even a
bigger
city
ones
anymore,
on there.
let's be
Yeah, it's
honest.
not a town. It's not a city. It is just a town. But
I mean that it's been destroyed. But anyway,
yeah.
making a poor joke.
But yeah, all of you can take notice of the map if you would like.
Yeah.
And sort of make sure that you study it and see how different things used to be.
Has Zinni ever been to Iron Fetter? I assume Zinni would have passed through.
Yeah, you
Because we
passed through it
started
on
at
your way
Druid
here,
side.
and you had a very, very brief stay there. Like, literally an overnight stay, and you wanted to leave immediately after, because the name is the name for it. It's not an exaggeration. The city fucking stinks. It permanently has a smog and smell of rotting fish carcass and metal that's being actively worked. That sort of like warm metal smell wafting in with fish remains, both rotting and somewhat fresh sometimes, is an incredibly unpleasant smell. One that when you pass through, you notice that the locals have very minimal reaction to. And you being a native of the North as well, would know that many of the people that work in the factories in Iron Fetter stay there during their working weeks, and then during their off days travel to Downbury, where a lot of their sort of permanent residences, where many people's wives are living there, the rest of their families, their children, and where a lot of people go to seek amenities, where Iron Fetter has
Downbury, where's
virtually
that?
none. Just slightly north of it.
Oh, above. You said down to Downbury. I was like, huh? That's not Bill.
Well, that being said, you would know that the local slogan of the city of Downbury is "When you go up, you gotta go down," which is a reference to if you are on the north side of the island, you have to go to Downbury, because that's where the shit is at. But yes.
Has everyone found out what they wanted to find out?
Can't read.
Any like books with pictures?
Can Sizzle read? Maybe Sizzle can
Rhymes.
read to you.
That's a good question, actually. Sizzle is mysterious.
Sizzle leaps out from your armor onto your shoulder and starts sort of like looking at you at the mention of his name. What?
Ew.
Mhm.
Can you like, what's it called again? Read like these little scribbles on the page. Do they have any meaning to you?
Read. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anxie, Sizzle turns and looks over in your direction and says in your head, Reed, do you know how to do that?
Yep.
Whoa. And then Sizzle turns back to you, Sid, and
Just a
says,
couple of idiots.
Sizzle says to you, yeah, I know how to read.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, you gotta teach me that sometime.
Of course, it'll be easy.
Alright, it's a plan.
Am I getting used as the like?
Sizzle turns back and looks at you and winks very obviously in your direction.
I immediately feel like I'm in high school again. Let's fucking go, team.
That'd be great. I'd be unstoppable if I can read.
Are you not going to try and ask Sizzle to read you something right now and see what he comes up with?
No, I'm not in a learning mood right now.
That's a plan for later.
Yeah, definitely. Sizzle's
It's
gonna
famished.
teach you.
Snoopy, what do you want?
But Sid, we had lunch like an hour ago.
We did?
Yeah. I believe you guys had lunch and then basically came over immediately.
Yep, we did.
Well, it's fitting.
It's all about dinner. Also, all these books, you know.
I mean, we surely have been reading for a while, because it's not like something that takes 10 minutes or so.
I don't know what it is. The smell of books makes me hungry.
I feel like it's
They smell
boredom
nice,
food.
right?
You say so.
I want to get rid of this black line, but I don't fucking know. Hold on.
What? Oh, the line.
It's racist.
Can't.
Yo,
I can't.
I see double.
I can't click on it. Fuck. Can anyone else remove that line?
No.
Oh, there we
Oh,
go. I
I
control Z.
think I
did
was
it.
going to do something, but it didn't work. I don't know.
There we go. I got
It's
rid
gone
of it.
now.
Did I start talking to you guys? Snoopy is instantly like, oh, no. All attention should go towards me. You little shit. What do you want?
Wee! Andros, your alarm spell has gone off.
Oh, Jesus.
It's like, that's not what Snoopy sounds like.
Okay. I'll let everyone else know as well.
Okay.
Do you want me to check on him at some point? See if he's out of town?
Oh, I mean, I'll probably go back and check on the gray zone, but
That's fair.
yeah.
Okay. Well, in this dimly lit but very nicely adorned library, is there anything else that you guys would like to try to peruse from this library's shelves?
Fine.
Is there anything about Garen Kassar and why it's independent?
You look around and you ask Tyrion as well. And he sort of like looks a little, not annoyed at the topic, but sort of like, oh yeah, this one. Garenkas is an interesting phenomena. It cropped up within the last couple of 100 years or so as sort of a pet project in a way for an individual. He bought the land from the previous Duat Nibblegup, and made a city and a beach. That beach didn't exist there before, and he just made it.
We should go, guys.
They're a rather isolationist place. They don't really take too kindly to visitors. I don't know if you've noticed on the map, they have a couple of towers dotted around the place, preventing unfettered access, at least. I know of a couple of trades that go in and out of there, but that's more or less it.
Sizzle,
Okay.
Sizzle, what's a beach?
Hold on, let me think about that. And Sizzle turns and looks at Anxie. He's like, "Hey, Anxie, what's a beach?"
I tell him what a beach is. I'm not gonna describe it.
He turns back to you, Sid. Yo, Sid, a beach is
Yeah.
a big piece of sand by the ocean.
What's an ocean?
A really big puddle.
Whoa. Did someone read about this?
Yeah, I'm smart, man. I fucking love you guys. The dynamic between you two is great.
Well, I've never seen a beach, so
Yeah, nice.
or an ocean. Well, maybe I have, but I don't remember.
So, was there anything else you guys wanted to ask about?
I'd like to look around and like try and read on the races of the island and maybe if there's any information about drows, just for my little friend Nix.
From what you read up, you're able to find a couple of censuses of the city, and it goes and talks about briefly the rest of the island too, where it mentions that the island basically, as soon as it was settled, has always been quite multicultural in terms of the races that live here. It mentions about how races tend to gravitate to cities where the rulers are of the race that they are. And that's why you find quite a big dwarf population among Ral Halfthird, a big gnome population among Ral Nibblegup, and a very, very big elf population around Ral Relvin. Outside of that, it just sort of talks about how there's a decently even spread of like a lot of the very common races among here, and that humans, as they always do, find themselves quickly initiated among any culture that they try to slip themselves into, with it being in their nature. Specifically with Ral Relvin, it does mention that almost the entire nobility there consists of high elves, and that drows, while there, are nowhere near as numerous as the high elves.
Any information of about half orcs and drows and how they're perceived in general, or is that all?
Half orcs are not a common race found in any city, and in fact, those of them that are very often the subject of discrimination, just by the very notion that they are the spawn of orcs. It's often likened as like a coin flip when a half orc is born, whether they're going to possess any humanity or just be the violent beast that they were created to be. That leads to a very, very big sort of like level of discrimination that any half orc has to brace when they go and try to ingratiate themselves among a city. Similar to the experience that you...
too stupid to understand the racism.
I have no clue. Yeah, but I didn't grow up around people. I just grew up in the forest with Sizzle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to find out. Like, how the fuck did you end up there?
Well, I don't know my exact age.
Exactly.
But like the first thing I remember is waking up. Do I need to do this as RP, or we're just talking, right?
You can
No, I
just
was
talk
just
about it
talking
if you
out
want.
of
Yeah. So I was like a young teenager, basically, something like that, you know. Just adult yet, and I
Mhm.
just woke up, Sizzle in front of me in a forest. That's it. I don't remember my childhood at all.
Yeah, no, you've mentioned that. It's just that I was curious about where the fuck do they come from and stuff like that.
Oh right,
That's
yeah.
it.
Sizzle very
And
much
nothing
was a friend for like your young life, and that's the role they encompassed. But they also basically taught you how to live. Like without them, you wouldn't have known how or where to get food when you woke up in the forest. And they're the ones who taught you. And whilst you offered them protection, they taught you various things, and along with
Exactly.
how to speak.
But yeah, how I lost my memory and shit, what happened before? No clue.
Mm. Interesting. And nothing about how drows are being perceived.
Nothing explicitly, no.
Okay, well then I'm done.
Okay. Is everybody done?
I have one more question.
Oh, please go.
I'm going to ping it on the map, but can you tell me anything about this one little island here? Just below Roll Middle Cup.
You're very quiet.
Oh, the island with the tree.
Yeah, with a single tree.
Oh, that one. There isn't anything written about it, but you do see it even exists on the old map as well. Asking Tayron about it, he himself is a bit perplexed. There isn't much that's actually known about this small island. There's nothing there. You can go and walk to the lake yourself and see that, like, it's just a small piece of land with this single tree on it. But it is worth noting that this tree is a kind of tree that's only seen in the forest around Ralwelvin. We assume that it was some kind of a gift or some kind of a signature mark of friendship between the two cities, but there's, as far as I know, no specific meaning behind it.
So it's more of a potentially a symbol or some sort of symbolism between Rol Nibblegup and
Yes, well, you notice
Ralph.
the tree sports a significant orange sort of hue to its leaves that exists year round, similar to as all the trees do up in Ralvalvin.
Yeah. Well, I've never been up to Rol. It's just what I've seen of them.
It is
Just
a
stood
rather
out as
curious case, yes. But unfortunately, there's nothing really I know specifically about it. For all we know, it might even just be some little practical joke of someone who stole a seed and planted it, but it's existed for a very, very long time.
Interesting.
I mean, next time we go to the Druids, we could check in on it on the way.
So, is that everybody's questions answered? I would assume so. Right.
All of mine.
As you are slowly led out of this small and modest library belonging to Lord Hennard Halfthird, we are going to take a real quick break because I need to go pee. All right, catch you in a bit.
Alright. Have fun taking a shit.
What do people want to do now? We got like 2 days till the arena.
I mean, I'm not like I kind of want to sneak into the wine cellar.
I mean, fair enough.
Can you do a disguise as someone not associated with?
Yeah.
I mean, I could disguise myself as the person we've been talking to and hope he doesn't run into me. I do think it's probably worth maybe mentioning the whole like underground tunnels and all thing to them like before we leave the city eventually.
We could
To see what their
possibly.
reaction to it is. Like just how you mentioned, like it's supposed to be for like defending,
Mm,
and those tunnels kind of undermined that to some extent.
yeah.
I don't think this will be our last time in the city.
Yo, yo, yo.
Hello.
Anxie,
Mm-hmm.
one small thing I forgot to mention to you, because it is more of a fun fact rather than anything else. While you were perusing through all these books, you did at one point see a list of the last 20 lords of Ralhafthud. Every single one of them has their first name beginning with H. Just a fun little fact you saw or picked up on.
Interesting. Thank you.
Changeling.
Mm.
Oh,
I mean, to be fair, the voice he read that section from the old lord did sound like the same guy.
oh. So, you guys are led back out into the main chamber of the Half-Third Estate. Where you see already inside, Lord Hennard and Carnellon are chatting and laughing amongst each other, having come back from their walk in the garden.
Do we hear what about?
You can roll a perception check to try to eavesdrop if you'd like.
Hmm.
There's quite a bit of laughter interspersed between what they're saying back and forth. Best you can pick up on, Carnellon was telling him some sort of a funny story. Definitely some kind of a crowd pleaser that he hasn't necessarily told you before, but something that he's part of his schmoozing is sort of just greasing up the people in higher places, making sure that they always like you.
Fair.
But as they see you approach, they both acknowledge you and sort of wave you guys over. I hope you guys have had your fill then. Learn anything interesting?
Sort of, yeah. Nothing about you, which was quite surprising.
Oh, please. Mention of me wouldn't even near make it to the vaunted halls of Lord Hennard's library.
Oh, stop it, Carnellon, you silly boy. Of course, I would only... I've written about you in my personal journal myself. The wondrous concert it was, I couldn't not. But, they're not going to find my personal journals within the library.
Oh, please, stop it, Mr. Hennard. You spoil me all too much with your appreciation and your hospitality.
Oh, stop it, you. No more of that. I trust that everything was to your liking and that Tyrion was especially helpful as he always is.
Yes, thank you very much, Bill. He was extremely helpful. And the passages regarding the Nefertiti were very interesting.
Interesting they are indeed, yes. I have a great appreciation for them myself.
Lord Hennard, thank you so much for letting us look through your library. It's been really really, I don't know what a good word is. Good.
Informative, fun.
Oh, it's
We learned a
nothing.
lot.
I'm glad that you were able to garner so much from just some dusty old books that wouldn't serve anyone else any other time. I must ask for just one promise from yourselves in return. Make sure you give those troubadours a whooping. Count Helen has told me a little bit about them, and I do dearly hope that you dominate over them in the arena.
They are going to get extremely whooped.
I'm glad to hear it.
Oh
We
yeah.
can't wait to have you in the crowd, sir.
Oh, I'll be doing my best to seem impartial, but worry not, I shall be cheering for you most enthusiastically in my heart.
Thank you, my lord. You know, I think the most interesting part that we found in the books was the old map of this
Yes.
island.
Yes,
Have you seen it?
I have. I've done a little bit of study of island history myself, what with me having the position I do.
It was most interesting to see all the towns that exist now not being there.
Many of them thanks to the Indies, for if they did not exist, small little towns and outcroppings like this simply would never have any ability to exist. The fact that the Indies are always providing such a vital service of keeping everyone safe allows for these smaller towns to crop up.
Soon the island will just be full of small towns.
I mean, no small towns would be able to exist if not for the Indies, because, it's just a simple matter of one shamble could put an end to a small farming village with no guards or Indies around to care for them. That's why everyone congregates in larger cities, but thankfully, thanks to the Indies, they can exist in smaller hamlets now as long as they are within the Indies' purview.
Don't you think they're kind of just treating the symptom though? Is it not worth solving the issue without in its entirety?
What do you mean solving the issue?
I mean, getting rid of all of them with shamblers.
You talk about it as if it's a feat most achievable. How would you go about it?
Well, you need to find out where they're coming from first.
They just always have been, and they always will be. It's just something that exists here. There is no rhyme or reason for them. If there was, it would have been discovered by now. Many intelligent people have existed over this long time of this island's existence. It's endearing to think that you believe you can stop it, and ideally hope that you can. But I, as someone who's existed for a lot longer than you, well, I don't want to say that I know better because that's not necessarily true, but I have a sort of cynicism about it.
Lord, do not underestimate our smartness. We're pretty smart, I'd say. We solved a lot of stuff. Didn't we, guys?
Zinni left. Well, I agree with the Lord a little bit because this is something that has existed on this island for a very long time. And I can imagine that we're not the only group of people who have tried to investigate the Shambler's existence here.
Oh, that's
I
true.
feel like
Even Baranoth himself came to me recently to ask a bit about the island's history. It's a bit odd. I don't usually hear from the gentleman all too often. I'm not sure if you know him, the Grand Overseer, I think his title is, of the Zenith Institute.
Oh, we have heard of him.
he was asking about the Shamblers, you say?
Well, not necessarily shamblers, but like old island history and how things were first settled and whatnot. I told him much of what I've told you about the early diaries of my forefathers. Whilst they unfortunately don't go back to the founding, we just sort of accept that the Shamblers exist and that we do our best to live in spite of them. He's a curious man, Baranoth, a bit intense. I had a meeting with him a few days ago to question about some disturbing magical happenstances in the city. I'm not sure if you saw it yourself. The statues around the city began magically being defaced several times over, even once they were fixed. Most disturbing. I had a conversation
Wasn't it
with
the
him.
Lord who sent us on that quest?
No.
It's just some random dude in the uppers who was like pissed off that it was happening because he went to the guards about it and they were just like, I don't know what to do.
But I'm pretty sure we did discuss with the Lord at the concert that we were the ones who solved that.
Yeah.
Oh, did you?
Or
Fuck.
maybe. I feel like he knows that we were investigating it. I can't remember what though.
Yeah, it's a busy guy.
Oh, that's right, you did mention that at the concert. Oh, bully for you, I'm glad that you were able to resolve it.
He's old.
Oh, you know what, with the concert and me preparing my son for when he would eventually take over from me, it's been a lot of back and forth from my personal life, on top of what I have to do to manage the city, though. We always appreciate your service, and I trust that you were compensated adequately for your deeds to the city.
Well, my lord, there is but one request I have,
Mm-hmm.
if I may.
Well, make any requests you feel appropriate.
During the event we attended with yourself, some days back, when we danced together, if you remember.
Oh, yes, of course.
What a delightful time. And I also recall I also recall the wine that you had there.
Oh my god.
Oh, yes, I do as well.
Let her cook.
What's going on?
Do you still might you have a bottle that we could take?
Well, I mean, of course, you know, guests of Carnellans are good as guests of mine. You know what, I do like to pick it out myself. Come with me.
And he starts to slowly walk off.
Smooth.
Do you follow the Lord Hennard?
Yes, I follow. Is anyone else coming?
Yeah, I'll come with you as well.
Yeah.
I follow.
Thank you, my lord. This is most gracious of you to take us down to your wine cellar.
Oh, no, it's nonsense, you know. I'm always so happy to be able to share with others, you know. My son doesn't share quite the enthusiasm I do for leadership, but he'll get there eventually. In the meantime, I'm happy to be able to share the eccentricities of my life with those that would care to even ask about it. You know, one of the things that you often find about high society is everyone's too concerned with their own lives that they never ask you about yours. It's a remarkably endearing trait I find in you, Zinni. But, oh, here we go.
You guys are led outside the back garden of the estate, and it is a magnificent garden in the back. One thing you pick out immediately as well, something that you knew was going to be here. A large, giant oak tree stood in the very center of this back garden, still standing here in its inspiring glory. It's just a genuinely magnificent, incredibly well-kept tree. You don't see a single stray leaf on the ground or a single petal out of place. Everything here is kept immaculately. And
Did you say we expected it to be there?
Yes, because it is the oak tree that Andriellis came through when he arrived at the place last.
Okay.
He eventually just after coming outside immediately turns and you see literally the big sort of window door things to a basement, and he opens it and starts to walk down below.
This is a wine cellar, of course. You know, it's a great place to keep all the alcohol because it's a bit colder. You know, the earth that wraps around it leads to it being a more temperate place to allow for alcohol to exist. Let me see. Which one did we have that day?
And he starts walking along giant kegs, like 10 feet by 20 feet kegs that are sort of like propped up and on their sides by little like slats in the ground. And he starts like tapping on all of them as he goes by, trying to think to himself, not like looking at them, just it
was this one, yes. A bottle you said you wanted? Of course. Take a couple.
And he turns and makes note of the name of it, goes over and opens a little crate and fishes out a couple of bottles and is like,
here you go. Shall be a good memory of the wonderful and most memorable historic occasion that we had together. The Nadziratelli and the leadership of Ralph III rekindling their friendship once more. It's great to have been a part of it.
Can we look around to see if there's anything odd?
yeah, roll me perception checks while you guys are down here. Or investigation,
all of us?
whichever you're better at. Whoever wants to, really.
Say perception or investigation.
Whichever you're better
Whichever you
at.
prefer.
Okay.
Okay, 15.
I think it's 15, guys.
The roll of 15, you guys take a look around. This is not even that well lit. In fact, it was like only barely lit when he came down and walked inside, sort of magically activated lights. You guys look around and the not tiled, but like bricked walls and smooth stone just lead to a very plain underground wine cellar with not really much to sort of take away from it. There's like quite a few different like large kegs and several like crates, but even looking amongst the wall, all the walls look indiscriminate and very samey all the way around, with nothing really that drags your attention. Is there anything else that you'd like to do while you're down here?
Should we mention to him that it looks like his building is built on top of something? I
Or
think that's the
maybe
I've ever considered that.
maybe we wait a bit. In case we find a way of figuring out what this place is before we leave the town.
While the Lord is busy
Mm-hmm.
and not paying attention to me, I'd like to cast the sneaky detect magic.
Detect magic. Okay, we'll make sure to mark off a spell slot. As you cast detect magic, you look around. There's a couple of magical lights above you, which illuminated the room itself, and you see that a couple of the crates have some like post-it notes on them, which emanate some sort of magic energy from it as well. But the room itself is very non-magical.
Oh. Is there a way that we can tell how deep we are now in comparison to when we were in the tunnel?
Yes, it's like literally worlds apart. When you were in the tunnel, you started from... So if we go back to the Ralhafthud map...
I know we started from low down, but I don't know how much elevation we gained while
So
traversing the tunnel.
from
Ultimately,
the
we
from the
came out-
scrounge up to the top of the plateau is several hundred feet. Even from the uppers to the top of the plateau is like 200 to 300 feet. This is a large mound right in the middle of the city. While you were in the tunnels, it kept steadily going upwards enough to where, like, you were always steadily going upwards until you came out in the uppers. It wasn't like up and down or anything like that. It was just like steadily going up and up and up to when you came out of the mound in the uppers. Here you are literally like 5 feet underneath the ground from the top of the plateau. But yes, it's like literally like several hundred feet between where you are currently and where you saw the wall underground in the tunnel.
Okay, well, if we're not going to tell him about the wall or anything like that, then there's not much else to do here, I don't think.
Is there
Thank you,
anything?
my lord. You are most generous. We appreciate your hospitality.
Oh, not at all. I'm glad to be able to assist friends of Cardinal and members of the Knights Zeratelli in whatever way they might need. Of course, it is all repayment of favor after what you've done for the city and what you will continue to do with your spectacle that you will show off at the arena. I hope that you consider yourselves good friends of Ralhaf III.
Most certainly, and we appreciate being allowed into your home and to be shown around so freely. Not many lords would do that, so yeah, we're very grateful that you've allowed us.
Certainly
Just
they
come
would not,
through.
yes, but I'm glad to be able to give it to such well-deserved people.
Just a thought, actually. I wonder, is it possible for us, or would it be a good idea for us to ask if he can basically give us permission to go into the institute and see what they're doing research-wise? So
I
we know
mean-
they're researching. Well, he knows they're researching stuff as well.
As far as we know, they're not connected at all, so I don't think it would matter.
I mean, it might
but
not be
we
like
can
a
try.
letter saying we can, and more like a letter asking if if they can
We
let us
could
in. sort of thing.
try. Do you want me to do it? Or are you gonna ask?
If you want to. It's up to you. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. I'm just thinking it'd be good if we can get into the institute to read if there's anything else there.
I mean, I don't think asking him would give us any permission to get inside and stuff, but
Okay, well, if you don't think so.
It might not, but it will also kind of push for the Lord to discover that Baranoth is no longer with us.
could be worse.
Assumed.
Assumed, yeah.
My lord, you mentioned that you've spoken with the head of the institute, Baranot, I believe.
Yes.
Do you think it would be possible for us to get access to the institute and try to peruse their library as well? Or do you think that's something we might not be
Oh.
able to do?
That's something that unfortunately is well outside of my domain of power. The Institute, you see, has always maintained its independency from the rest of the city. Not the biggest fan of it or the people that run it, but you will not dare repeat that outside of this wine cellar. Baranoth is a very closed-off man, both emotionally and quite literally. He stays, as far as I understand, locked away in the Zenith Institute, pursuing some kind of research that I know not. But as long as its contents do not spill out into the wider city, then there shan't be any trouble. I have heard recently of some rumors going around the city that a shamble was spotted inside the Zenith Institute in the last couple of days. No official report has been given to me by Baranoth so far, but I may start to inquire about that soon, should that not be explicitly mentioned to myself.
My lord, if I may, surely that warrants an investigation by by your team.
It
Such a rumor is a
would.
very dangerous one.
It would if it was anything more than a rumor. If any of the students had ever gotten hurt, it would become known rather quickly, or if anybody actually had an eyewitness account. But from what I've been able to garner, and from what the Lord's Guard have been able to garner, is that it was rumors that began to spread after a commotion was heard inside the Institute, but nothing was actually seen.
So we could show him one of the pages we got that basically talked about him researching on Shamblers.
I have an idea as well. I got an immediate idea when he said that. What if Andros spawns a Shambler right outside the Institute? Then they would have to go in, right? The guardsmen.
Well, I was thinking more if you show him like one of the pages that show that he's been doing some
Well,
dodgy research.
That
and
immediately
then suggest maybe we we can go in and find out what's going on.
but that shows that we've been to the Institute. Like, how else
Yeah.
would
I
we
mean, well,
inquire it?
just say somebody from the Institute gave it to us. You know, then doesn't know how to.
Right.
herald
No
it.
questions asked.
Or just whistleblower.
I don't like. Anxie would not be happy with that. Like, she wouldn't want to share the notes she has in her back.
I think my idea is more fun.
Well, I mean, if you look at the notes that you got, literally there's one page which all it really says is that they're doing a mind probe of a shamble.
I know, but that would showcase that we've got some connections to the Institute, and we're literally asking him whether he can tell us if we can go and visit, or if there is a way of doing so. So it is very shady. I don't know. I don't really like the idea. I'm sorry.
I'd also rather not show him anything that could plant any idea that we've been near the Institute, especially after now asking.
I mean, the problem is, there could be a lot of useful info there, especially Baronoff is gone.
Well,
And it's either
wait.
a case of we go in, like, try and go in legit, or we try and sneak in again.
Wait. Question. Didn't
Yes.
you use a Shambler to get into the Institute, Ale?
Mhm.
I didn't use it to get in. I used it to distract.
And the Lord knows nothing about that Shambler either?
He's
the Shambler
heard
he's talking
rumors.
about.
Because I feel like that would have caused alarm bells, Mr. Dack.
Those are the
Right.
rumors that have been generated from your guys' breaking and entering into the Zenith Institute. There was
Yeah.
lots of sounds of panic and commotion that were heard, but no one from outside the Institute ever exactly saw the shamble to be able to report it. There was just lots of talk about people that were outside of its walls reporting a lot of sounds of explosions and magic and all this sorts of stuff going on.
Yeah.
Which isn't necessarily uncommon for the Zenith Institute, which is a place of magical learning for people who don't have a grasp on their power yet.
Right, let's go spawn another.
I think, I guess, but I think we shouldn't say anything about it and just keep our names clean in relation to what's happened in the Institute, and that no one should know that we've been there and done anything. So let's just keep it as it is and not
I
tell
agree.
him something.
Yeah. I think we've done a lot already around the Institute, and I kind of think we
Yeah.
should let that stew a little bit.
I believe so too. However, I'd be
Or
very
we could
interested in
spawn
entering.
one outside and then defeat it and be the saviors of this town as well. Smile.
The thing is, we.
And
We
that would
gotta
give us a
re-enter
bit
somehow.
more.
Well, so that's the thing. Like, you know, we can obviously just ignore it, but I'm thinking the sooner we get in there, the better, in case they try and get rid of anything. But there could be a lot of useful info still there.
Yeah.
We've only got like a few pages, and I'm just trying to think of an excuse for us to go in there.
If we do the
Without us
saving as
breaking-
well, it might give us an easier in with the Lord and his men.
But what if they basically take control over it and they don't let us peruse for additional information
Well-
before them?
So that's why I was thinking, like, if we convince him there's something dodgy going on there, and it's like, let us go in and investigate. We know what's going on potentially. So basically, we're the ones he sends to find out what's going on. So we've got an excuse for going in there.
I mean, we can say, well, if you've heard rumors about Chambur, would it be okay for us to try and investigate what's happening in there? Basically, try and say something like that. I don't think he can, unofficial business send us there because they don't technically own them.
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, you can't officially send guards there.
Yeah, so,
sends
but
us
we can ask.
unofficially.
It's within the city walls, so surely he has some jurisdiction to make sure that they're not breaking the laws.
The Zenith Institute operates somewhat as an exclave within Relhafted. They do not have the guards don't go in there because they're not responsible for anything that happens within it. Zenith Institute have their own sort of like protections, their own sort of people that like take care of things and this sort of stuff. And that's why they're entirely responsible for the people within it as well.
So we wouldn't get in trouble if we just go in the front door.
Yeah, I think so. We wouldn't get in trouble with the Lord, at least, I believe.
With the Lord, no.
With them, possibly.
I think we're already in kind of trouble with the Institute. I don't think
Exactly.
they're- So I think that's less of an issue.
So I feel like we shouldn't bother with it right now. I mean, asking him for further stuff and etc. Is that everything we wanted to do here?
I think so.
Oh, wait, so we're not asking him, does he want us to send us to investigate?
Well, he can't really do that. As in, like, he has no
Jurisdiction.
yes, exactly, over it. And us going there, even without asking him for such permission, is the same. It's literally we can just go in and deal with the consequences of entering the Zenith Institute within the Zenith Institute. Like, the Lord wouldn't care if we've entered the place,
But
as long as
Does
we
he not
don't
want
do
us
damage
to, like...
out. What?
Does he not want us to investigate as, like, a stealth mission? Under the radar type shit?
I mean, he did say that it's rumors, so I guess he would be like, yeah, you can do whatever you want, I suppose, but we can already do it, so it's just like,
And
I don't think it matters asking him, that's it.
if the Zenith Institute is completely independent, I don't think he'd really care for us to investigate.
Exactly. It feels like asking is just like, it doesn't really matter, we can just do it regardless.
Unless they're doing something that puts the city in danger, I don't think he's too interested in
Yeah.
it.
I just think
Yeah,
it'd be good
we'll just head in, I think.
because if we went in and found this info without asking him first, I think it's better if we at least say, are you happy for us to do this, and report our findings to you beforehand. I think that would be more respectful.
I mean, depending on what we are planning on doing, yeah, I suppose.
You have been able to garner so far already that even before your mentions of anything,
He's
Hennard
suspicious.
is like somewhat untrusting of the Zenith Institute. Hence why in Baronoff's personal notes you saw that he accused the Institute, privately albeit, of what was happening with the statues. And because of that, arranged for a meeting between him and Baronoff to discuss it.
So maybe we offer to do just a private investigation and see what we can find for him. If he's sus, but has no authority.
We're
Okay.
independent of the city guard, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I think if we offer it,
I mean,
Okay.
if we offer it, bear in mind we don't need to actually tell him everything we find. But
Yeah,
it would just like
definitely.
give us a better reputation if like we offer and like say we'll tell him what we find.
Okay. Does it mean that if we decide to try and investigate what's going on inside, you wouldn't have an issue with it, and you would maybe be happy if we provide you with information on the matter?
Information is always greatly appreciated. Any war is one off of information alone. Not that this is akin to a war, of course. But what I will say is that though I do keep a watchful eye on the Institute and the researchers that Baronoth brought in within the last decade or so, I am not able to guarantee you safe passage within it. And any sort of subterfuge you lot might want to get up to, you would of course do independently yourself and not as in respect of myself or anything, but that whereas I would deal with any manner of trespass and punish it as I saw fit, Baronoth would similarly deal with any manner of trespassing and give out punishments that he would see fit.
Yeah, that's fair. I believe we understand that it's more of a question whether you would be interested in our findings if we actually happen to.
Oh, of course, I've never
get
trusted the
inside.
bastard.
Okay, that's good.
You see, as he sort of like clears his throat, he sort of like realizes the little outburst he had, very unbecoming of himself, and straightens his back a little bit more and starts to walk out of the wine cellar.
I reckon we follow.
yeah, I think so.
As you are led back out into the beautiful afternoon sun, you bask in the glory of this garden once more, and I really can't undersell just how perfectly everything is kept. Lord Hennard takes in a deep breath.
Your group has been its own sort of breath of fresh air in this city. Brought some life to it, and the promise of the arena matches, a big spark of enjoyment for all the citizens within it, even those that may not be directly attending themselves. Though I have heard that because of your recent escapades and because of how well known you are, that the tickets are very close to being sold out at this point of time. I made sure to inquire about this a day or two ago when I secured seating myself.
Oh, by the way, has he noticed that I'm disguised as one of the other team?
He doesn't know who the other team are.
Okay, fair enough.
Knowing all the tickets are sold out, my lord, puts pressure on us to not disappoint.
I should hope so. It's a lot of people's thoughts and probably hard-earned winnings are resting on your shoulder. Make sure you do your best.
So we absolutely will.
No
Well,
pressure.
We don't intend holding back.
I should hope so. Should you want anything of my lordship once more, please do send a message on to my staff or to Tyrion himself directly. I should hope that you are well taken care of whilst you remain in the walls of our city.
Thank you very much, my lord. We appreciate your hospitality.
And as do I your candidness. I shall bid you adieu, for I have to return to my duties once more, busy as I am. Tyrion will show you out.
And Tyrion sort of appears with the others that didn't go into the wine cellar. Yeah, we would wonder if you wouldn't mind following me. And he
Yes, of course. Thank you.
leads you back through the mansion, out through the front garden, and onwards to the front gate itself.
When we walk past the oak tree, I'm just gonna make sure to take a detailed mental image of the tree.
Absolutely. It is in the very center of the back garden, and you basked in it for a while to be able to do that before you set off, so a good mental image of the tree has been scored into your mind.
I just ask Waylor, what happens if you cut down a tree, turn it into planks, and then a druid tries to go through it?
Once it's planted, it's no longer a tree or a plant, so the spell would fail, I'd imagine.
I mean, Andros, what do you expect? Like, he turns all over the place, and like 20 pieces just turns out into planks, like, ugh.
You have just like druids showing up at random people's houses, like, huh? This is not
like-
where this tree was.
No, even that.
In
Like,
someone's fireplace.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of warm.
yeah, but it will also be split in multiple pieces because there's multiple planks being made out of the out of the tree, right? So
Yeah.
there's a hand turning out in the fireplace. There's an ear coming out of the wall there. It's just fucked up.
Considering the instance we had in the other city with Baylor getting choked out in somebody's living room, druids ending up in weird places is apparently normal.
It's true. So, you guys find yourselves now on the outside walls of Lord Henatath III's mansion, and in front of the guard barracks that bears in front of it.
So, do we want to go to the Institute now or later?
What's the time?
It is still early afternoon.
Can we take a casual stroll past the Institute and see if we get any looks from it?
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
It might be a good idea. I'm just thinking if you can have your detect thoughts up, and we basically, if somebody like a researcher comes out to question what we're doing or something, if we can basically try and find out if Baranos really is dead.
Well, in order to, use detect thoughts on them, they gotta be rather close to me. And the whole like area of the institute is large as fuck.
Well, I mean, if we
Like-
go up to like the main gate and ask, for a researcher or something.
But
Or
but
ask
the
them to look at
researchers
Baranos.
already know me. It would be kind of.
Okay, fair enough. We should just walk past and summon a shamble and send it in.
Yeah, it's like 30 feet away from me, and I can detect their thoughts. And it's like, so if I go there, I can't enter the thing through the invisible wall thingy.
I think you can
And-
break the invisible wall very easily.
Yeah. It seems like we just want to do a stroll around it and see what's going on maybe inside, and that would like get people's attention for sure. It like me detecting their thoughts wouldn't be really sneaky. And they might be just, they would notice us and their thoughts would be changing immediately. They wouldn't be casually thinking about how Baronot's not there. They would be thinking about how some freaks are like, getting inside the institute.
Yeah, I think just a casual walk around or walk past the Institute just to see their reactions, and if they react to us at all,
Mm-hmm.
gives us a bit of insight.
Okay, so is that what you guys are off to do?
Yeah.
Alright. Sounds like a bit of an uncertain yeah, but I will take it and let's roll with it. you guys make your way back down to the stairs of the plateau. You guys know what's coming. Roll me an athletics
Oh.
check.
These fucking stairs.
The mighty have fallen.
Sid,
Does he
being
have a
the
lift?
exuberant man that he is, starts walking down a bit quicker than the rest of you. And
Mhm.
turning back and noticing that the rest of you are being considerably slower, he looks at the two girls and... Sid, you can't help but think that if you just helped a bit, they could move a lot quicker.
Ladies, you're right there.
Help!
Vision.
My feet hurt.
Alright, who wants to go on my shoulder?
It's me,
Honestly,
of course.
You could fit both girls on either shoulder.
Yeah,
Kind of don't wanna.
that's fine.
Leaving poor Baylor there by himself.
Gigasid.
Yeah, I'm gonna just walk slowly with Baylor.
Well,
Alright, you're nice.
as you guys walk down the stairs, you find yourself in front of the guard barracks that's right in front of it, but also staring down way across the way the entrance to the Zenith Institute. What is it exactly that you are doing?
We're gonna walk past it and try to peek inside of it, basically see what's going on in the yard.
Okay.
We don't necessarily want to be sneaky about the peeking.
Yeah.
We kind of want to be spotted.
Alright, you want to be spotted, but you're walking past. Each of you roll me a perception check.
No, that's perception checks.
I think that's the highest anyone even can get, because I think you've got the highest modifier,
Yeah.
right?
I think Tony has the same, so it's literally
I
the
think Tony
highest.
is +7, yeah. Okay. As your group begins to stroll by the entrance of the Zenith Institute, which is the natural path to take, given that it, crests along the main path, you all look within the Zenith Institute's walls. You all see the familiar hustle and bustle of students out in the courtyard, particularly now as it's getting to mid-afternoon, and a lot of the students have finished their lessons at this point. But not a single one of you can notice any of the researchers. They stand out quite a bit from the students themselves, but none of you catch a glimpse of any of them as you're walking past.
Is it worth us taking or sending something in to check out what's going on the research side?
Like what?
I think so. My Shadow's one. It can't talk, but it can understand my commands, can't it? Dex.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I could send that over the wall and tell it just to basically go inside, and then if it sees anyone, just run outside and come back. And just put summon that over the wall, basically.
It's certainly possible.
That'd be an idea.
Just try with Find Familiar.
Well, yeah, familiar might be easier. I'm wondering, like, can the familiar open the
Maybe
door?
not as noticeable as well, because... Well, I don't know.
I mean, as long as it can open a door or get through a door, 'cause that's the only thing. They do want for doors closed there.
It's a Fey familiar, so I don't know if that looks different to a normal, or would look different to a normal bird. But summon, let's say, a Fey bird of sorts.
It'd be a bit more vibrantly coloured, and maybe the anatomy wouldn't be all exactly correct, but it would be like a bird at a glance.
Would I need to cast Speak with Animals to speak with it?
No. Find Familiar, you have like a mental connection with it.
But can it communicate with me? I know I have the mental connection to give it instructions, but
I don't think familiars like from Find Familiar talk, and I don't think they necessarily have like inner thoughts that you listen to or something like that. It's more just like, can you ping Find Familiar in chat just for us to read it?
Can't you look through their eyes
I'm
if
pretty
you're
sure,
like in
yeah.
a trance mode or something like Caleb?
That's what I'm thinking.
yeah, within 100 feet.
It acts independently of you, but always obeys your commands. Temporarily dismiss it to a pocket dimension. While your familiar is
as an
within
action,
100
you can
feet
see
of
it with
you,
its eyes.
you can communicate with it telepathically. Additionally, as an action, you can see through your familiar's eyes and hear what it hears.
So you can literally send it as a spy and look through its eyes, basically.
Yeah,
The only
it's
thing is,
only
can it
100
get through the
feet, though.
doors? So, yeah, I mean, the entire corridor is going to be within 100 feet if we stay the other side of the wall to it, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well-
we need to come round back this
Like
side
here.
Yeah.
And into the other same side door. It's just, can it get through doors is the only issue.
It can't get through doors. I don't think the bird will be able to open the doors, but it can
Right.
peer through windows.
I mean, the only thing I can think of is I could summon the Shadow Spawn, tell it to hide, and give it a command to basically follow the bird and open any doors it tries to go through.
What's the range on the Shadow Spawn?
There is no range.
Right.
There's
I mean,
a
there's a
summon
range to summon
range.
it.
Yeah.
Which is 90 feet, but after that it's on its own.
Are we actually going ahead for my plan here?
It's a bit different. We're not spawning something that's gonna fight them.
I'm hoping so. It will be the bird, but it will also the Shadow Spawn will be using the hide, as well. So it shouldn't be too obvious. Hopefully,
Let's try.
A bird if a bird is spotted in there, it's going to be a little bit weird. However, it's just a familiar, so what's the worst that could happen?
I mean, I have interest. Do you have any spells, Baylor, that can like Mage Hand or anything like that?
I have
No.
that. And my mage hand is invisible.
Well, what I'm thinking is, so Baylor,
There's a range.
If you look at the end of Find Familiar, you can cast a spell from your familiar. I wonder if you can cast Mage Hand from your familiar to open doors and such.
No, I don't have mage
Only
hand.
if it has a range of touch can you cast that spell through the familiar. And the familiar must be within 100 feet of you.
I mean, I could just levitate over and go take a look myself.
Whichever you prefer, really.
So, what's the
How
plan?
about we move down here to this area here? I'll send the familiar just to look through the windows to start with. And we can take it from there.
Oh yeah, there's windows, isn't there? Yeah, just do that. See if you can see any movement.
Okay. Let's switch over to the Institute map specifically. So, where exactly did you say you were going to be standing?
I'm thinking around here somewhere.
Okay.
That gives us a bit of range.
Yeah, you want to be in range of most of the research area, 100 feet
Yeah.
wise.
Yeah, that ain't gonna give you a proper range.
Are we being stealthy now?
Would be a good idea maybe when we're going there, but
Vinny's being stealthy.
so am I.
And roll stealth if you guys are wanting to avoid detection on the outskirts. Whew!
Alright.
12 with the disadvantage? That's not bad.
Is Cedric joining us?
Oh. Boy, this is not gonna be great.
I think you've got like a +0 to your stealth, right?
Plus nothing.
It's good.
Not bad. Okay. You guys make your way around the sides and back of the Zenith Institute. So who's doing what?
So I will cast Find Familiar
Mm-hmm.
and summon a Fade Sparrow.
Faye Sparrow. Okay.
And then I'm going to send it to peer through these windows around this first little U-shaped area.
Okay.
And I will
Jesus.
then also peer through its eyes and see what I can see, hear what I can hear.
As the sparrow flies up into the air, you close your eyes and grab a hold of a nearby ally to make sure you don't fall over. And you watch as the sparrow flies up and into the air and starts darting around the air before swooping down and landing on top of the roof above a window in the Zenith Institute. It gently flutters back down onto a windowsill at this window here. It peers inside. Roll me a perception check, please.
I haven't got a sparrow's stat box. There isn't a sparrow.
I think there should just be a generic bird one, right, though?
There isn't a generic bird on it. There's a bluebird.
Bluebird, yeah.
I'm going to send you the... Oh, sorry.
Yeah, just roll the d20 and tell me what the modifier is, if any.
Wrong person.
Yeah. The modifier for perception...
+3 for perception, so go ahead and roll. Oof. As
Can
this-
I
Mhm.
can I re-roll that for inspiration?
Ooh, can you re-roll a familiar's... Can a familiar use player's inspiration? I mean, it can use bardic inspiration apparently according to AI, so I assume it can use inspiration regular. So yes, I will allow you to re-roll it. Okay, 16 plus 3, it's a 19. As the sparrow has landed on the windowsill, it turns and, because it's only got eyes on the side of its head, looks sideways into the building. In this building, and in this room, you have seen into before. You know that it's sort of like an elaborate reading area, plenty of desks, some bookshelves on the side, plenty of chairs, and you see an individual here, sat at a chair in front of a table with their hands ruffling their hair, and you see a frustrated look on their head as they are very intently reading something.
Do I recognize that?
You do not recognize them.
be able to fly in and see what he's reading.
Is the window open?
Window is not open.
And I from here I can't see what they're reading. Right?
No.
I'll peek at the window a little bit.
The sparrow pecks at the window a little, instantly grabbing attention of the researcher inside. They turn and look at the sparrow. Curious look comes to their mind. And they start to approach the window.
I'll fly up just so I'm out of reach. I'll see, but I'll kind of stick around and see if they open the window.
Researcher comes to the window and opens the window. And they look up at the sparrow. They slowly start to hold their hand out with a finger outstretched.
I'll come and perch on their finger.
Sparrow comes and perches on their finger. And you see as the researcher still stands in the window frame, holding and looking curiously at the sparrow. Researcher tilts their head a bit, looks curiously at the sparrow. Roll me a Constitution saving throw for the sparrow.
I was going to see if I can do something before then. Like as I land on his finger.
As you land, what were you going to do?
It's the bluebirds feature, but I think it's all the songbirds have the feature.
Mm-hmm. And what is said
Bluebirds
feature?
one is just based on wisdom.
Once per turn, the
Logic
bluebird
two.
can use an action to have a creature within a 15-foot cone make a DC Wisdom saving throw. Become charmed until their turn. Okay, I'll allow it. DC 15, you said?
Yeah.
They rolled 13. And this creature is now charmed by the bluebird or the sparrow.
So if I don't give it instructions or do anything, the creature will just stand still.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to fly off their finger, fly in, and see if I can see what they were reading, and then fly out.
So what were they going to do to the sparrow that needs to do a Constitution saving throw?
Nope. In a different timeline where Baylor asserted what he wanted to do as it landed, which I'm willing to let slide, but in those situations you do need to call out sooner.
Yeah.
It's all right. The sparrow flies over to the table and starts to hop across it. And they look down and peer at the pages that the researcher was looking at. You can see a sort of title to the section of this book that they were reading. The Early Settling and Founding of Ralverkil.
Okay, it would be very good if we could get that book.
And on the page which they were reading, if I do if I skim over that page, can I spot anything that would make them be as frustrated as they were when I spotted them through the window initially?
What you immediately garner from this page is it's a lot of talk about early settlings of towns and cities, sort of approximately which ones were done first, how many people were roughly in each Ral city at the time. You see a mention of Ral Andruk, which before today would have been a complete mystery to you, but now suddenly makes a bit more sense. Outside of that, the page seems really a bit barren of anything interesting, honestly.
There's nothing that interesting on the page. I'm just going to fly straight out the window.
Fly out.
And I'll go to the next window.
How long does this charm happen for? To the end of their next turn. Okay. As your bird looks up from having had a quick glance at the page, it sees a bolt of lightning flying towards it. Make a dexterity saving throw for the bird.
You did not cast a lightning bolt.
Any objection to me sending my shadow spawn in to take care of him if he's attacking a bird?
Oh, that's a 5.
Your vision is severed with the bird.
You guys will see Beto immediately. Whoa!
You're right.
And then just checking, patting himself. Yeah, I'm okay.
What
Bird's
happened?
okay. I'm okay. I spotted a researcher that was reading something, and he was looking kind of distraught. Like
Baylor, as your mind is racing and you are trying to recall everything that happened, with your passive perception, you just pick up on the edge of your hearing some kind of shouting coming from within the Institute.
Do you guys hear that? I'll tell you later what I found, but
Should we leave?
my bird tangled with the research, and I think we should go.
Okay, do we go out stealthily? I assume so.
If you're doing so, then everyone please roll me a stealth check.
Oh boy.
Okay.
We're surely fine, guys. Let's just go.
You guys immediately start to try and make way for some sort of cover, which is like the houses nearby or anything that would be able to obscure your vision.
Can I see that some of my allies are not very hidden?
You can, yes.
Okay, once I do notice that, I'll cast invisibility using Twin's spell on both Andros and Cedric. Well, no, I'm just gonna cast it on Cedric.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'll just make myself
And-
invisible in the dark corner.
And Baylor. So Cedric and Baylor would have invisibility on them.
Okay. Andros, did you say you're burning a spell slot for yourself?
No, I'm just. Is there any sort of like dark corners or dim
There
corners?
is not here. You're in the afternoon light. It
Do
is
I have an umbrella?
not with you, no. And I don't think an umbrella would be quite enough.
Yeah, I just disguise myself as a random townsperson
Okay.
and just make it. Look
Cedric
like
and
I'm
Baylor, you are
using
made
tall.
invisible. So for Baylor, that would mean that your disadvantage turned into a straight roll. So we'll take the 14 there. And Cedric, it means that you get to roll at advantage. So roll just one more stealth check at regular.
Better?
14. And Andros, you've transformed into some random member of the public. The rest of you darted off immediately to cover. Andros is sort of like trying to like maneuver himself away rather quickly, but is disguised as some random civilian that he had seen earlier that day. Baylor and Zinni, with your passive perception, two of you notice and hear something up in the sky. Person. Flying. Looking eagerly around. Flying down and close to the walls of the Institute. Surveying things. You see them shout and call out, "Hey you!" They're talking at you, Andros. What are you doing skulking around here?
I look around and can't see anyone because I'm not looking at him yet.
Up here, dumbass. What are you doing back here?
I live here.
Roll me a deception check. Do you want to use your actor feat to put this advantage since you are trying to pass yourself off as someone else?
I'm going to say yes to that.
Okay, well then roll a deception check with advantage. Doesn't beat the 7 that I rolled. Alright. Well, on your way then. There's no reason to be lurking back here. Creepy looking. Anyway, they start to slowly float up into the air again as they look around.
I just say under my breath as I'm walking away, yeah. Creepy looking, says the guy who's floating in the air.
We all see that though, right?
Now you do, after he had called attention to himself. And from the sort of small cubby that you had dashed into between two houses, you are able to see as he floats off in a direction. A couple minutes pass. Eventually, the researcher finished doing their rounds, but not looking any happy with it. Flies back down into the Zenith Institute.
Did I get a good enough look at him to know if that was the same researcher who was reading the book?
Yes, it was.
Not using telepathic speech on them was very hard.
Well, they were more than 30 feet away, you wouldn't have been able to.
I am tempted
Ah.
to either send in my Shadowspawn or a Shambler as we make our way off.
What direction are you guys going?
I mean, we just dodged it, so maybe we should just go to the ladies' garden or whatnot.
Maybe we should send another bird in. It's the last thing we'd expect.
Different type now.
So, walking away for now, is it?
Yeah, I think for now let's go back to the inn.
Okay. So, after just having evaded detection from the researcher, you guys begin to start to make your way back to the inn. What route are you going to take?
You reckon the tunnels are safer now? That we've been spotted, or should we just go the normal route?
I'd probably say tunnels.
Okay.
Ryan, I'm just worried they might be watching for anybody, and maybe the normal route would be a little bit safer this time around.
Yeah. Okay. Let's just do the normal one, and we won't be. And we'll try to basically stay clear from the institute. And if someone comes and talk to us, we can easily just deal with it because we wouldn't be caught basically snooping into the institute. Like they wouldn't really be sure of our involvement.
And
I
we just
suppose.
trust on the Lord if they ask, and
Yeah.
they can be verified.
Let's just do that.
So, taking a wide berth around the institute, you're going to then take the main path back, the ladies' garden.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. In doing so, you walk along the main road, see quite a few horse and cart carriages traveling up and down the roads, delivering goods from various shops to citizens around the city. Passing a couple guards on the way, they give you nods of recognition. One of them even mentioning about how he's looking forward to your guys' fight. Going past the arena now. Actually, before that, going past the shop Immaculation in the uppers,
Oh.
you guys notice something. A big banner has been put above the door.
What does it say?
Closing flash sale. All items must go.
Ooh.
Let's have a look.
Mm.
I feel like we won't be. He won't be happy to see us, or at least me.
Yeah, okay, let's all go in, but I think if you go in last, just so he doesn't kick us all out.
I'll wait for everyone to enter, then I'll hide and shapeshift while trying to be invisible to the public eye.
Okay. Who are you going to shapeshift into?
I'm thinking here. Just a second.
While you're thinking, I've got a question for GM.
Yep.
Are you a Star Trek fan?
Am I a StarCraft fan?
Star Trek.
Star Trek? No.
Okay.
Seen a bit of Stargate, but no Star Trek.
Okay.
Why do you ask?
Because in DS9, Deep Space
Mhm.
Nine, there is a changeling,
Oh?
and the way you described Angsty changing shapes, the skin bubbling and all that, is very similar to how he changes shape.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I mean, it is a very similar plot point, isn't it? Like the whole
Yeah.
like changeling thing.
Changeling, like the idea of them sort of like do exist in media. I remember like a Red Dwarf episode with something similar. But no, I've not seen the Star Trek episode, sorry.
It's more the way that he changes.
Hold up. I was AFK for like 3 minutes. Did we stop the session?
Nope.
No.
Because we're suddenly talking
Yeah,
about
we
Star
just suddenly
Trek.
start talking about a show. Yeah, no.
I have seen all the Star Treks. What are we talking about?
Turbo Nerd.
We're talking about
Shut up, Dungeon Master.
the way Angsty changes shape, the way his skin bubbles is very similar to Odo from DS9.
Really? Yeah, 90s fucking special effects. Let's go.
So, Anxie, who are you going to shapeshift into?
Gonna shapeshift into Magdalena, since I've already done it once.
Okay. As your skin starts to inflate and cover your features and snap back, and you are now in the most gorgeous, wonderful dress and most beautifully kept makeup face, you now look like Magdalena. And your big, completely pompous wizard hat in shape as well.
Yeah, and once I enter Immaculations, I'll use telepathic speech on Cedric, and I'll tell him that it's me, and it's not Magdalena, and he should act as if nothing's changed, like as if everything's
I
normal.
mean, did I see you transform?
No.
Okay.
And I say over in the end. After walking into.
I've got a feeling just saying it's me isn't going to really help.
No. Well, I would say that it's Anxi. I just didn't want to okay, I'll just go on a role play the whole thing, alright?
I'm thinking
Yes,
Cedric, you've got to be very specific.
Okay, so I entered the store. I used telepathic speech on Cedric immediately, saying, Cedric, it's me, Anxi, not Magdalena. Please don't take notice of my appearance. Over. And that's it.
Cedric, you turn around and it's the most beautiful woman you've ever seen. One that you've not seen in quite a week now.
I'm so confused right now.
And I just walk outside.
Thank you.
As Cedric turns to leave and Anxi, you turn to look in at the rest of Immaculation. One thing you notice, which the rest of your party also noticed, is that the entire shop is completely barren and empty. There are no customers. Just a single prim and proper elven man stood behind his counter in the same position he always did, but with somehow more gloom to his face than usual, though you thought it not possible.
I've ruined him.
I just go up and ask, is there anything left, it's on sale?
Oh yes, there's plenty left. Plenty of my stock, which is not selling because of some petty rumors. Please peruse at your liking. Please buy anything that you like.
Oh my god.
And a gentle repose comes back to him.
What are the sales?
There are some monstrous sales here.
I'm
Let
just
us know.
getting annoyed for guys like, what kind of service is this? Are you just standing there? You've got to tell.
My goods speak for themselves, and their quality is unparalleled. I am just choosing to pack up shop and move somewhere else, so it's best I sell the cargo now. Please, peruse at your liking. I wouldn't want to hamper your experience.
So
Wait,
we look.
then why is this stuff not selling?
Because I asked him whether the item I bought was cursed, and people heard that, and they started rumors, and because of that, now his stock is not selling. So because of me, he's closing shop now.
Sidax, is there a list of items he's got, or?
There is, and the list would have been bigger had I not prepared, but all the stuff that was there before is still there now. Any kind of +1 weapon can be bought here. I'm not sure if you guys bought the Amulet of Fortitude, the Bloodline Robes, Ring of Cat's Grace, and the Void Flame Longsword is still all here.
Could you
Do
link
you have
it
a-
again?
Listen, say, can you link it again so I can see what we do?
Let me put it in the general chat, forget. There are the
Just so you know,
items.
you did that to yourself.
Yeah, I know. Your Auntie's Paranoia is the one ring that Anxi already bought.
I got.
So these other things are available.
Where's the sale?
Everything currently has a 50% off sale.
Okay.
whilst you're perusing that, Thranduil, the owner, is very, very stern looking, and though he holds his form proper and true, you see that it's significantly more tense than it ever should be.
Are prices there already discounted, or is it 50% on top of those?
50% off of those prices.
Okay, so 450 for the Amulet of Fortitude, yeah?
Yes.
Can I,
Can you explain
can I
what?
haggle it down with him?
Mm-hmm. Can I explain what was it? Sorry, Zinni?
I don't know what dexterity does in D&D. I
Uh,
don't think
so
we've ever used that.
dexterity gets used actually really often all the time. It
A lot.
determines what your AC is alongside your armor. It governs the skills of sleight of hand, stealth, acrobatics. Is there something else? No, I think that's it.
And your initiative is based.
Your initiative as well. And dexterity saving throws are a very common asked thing for, like, if traps are going off, when spells are being hurled at you. Fireball, for example, requires a dexterity saving throw. It's
Lightning bolts.
lightning
as
bolt
well.
as well. It's one of the most commonly used skills, actually. Or stats.
It's very good. Like, this ring on Cedric would be amazing.
For Cedric, it would be
Uh,
a flat +3 AC.
So I look at the Amulet of Fortitude and I try and barter him down on the price a bit. Like, it's nice, but it's not 450 gold nice.
Nice! Yes, it's very nice. And very worth its current listing, though the sale does now exist. 450 gold is very, very still worth.
Oh yeah, no doubt it's a good item. It's just, I mean, looking through the store, there must be a reason why it hasn't sold at 50% off compared to all these other empty shelves. I can offer
If you
400.
must inquire, my goods are currently not selling because of some vicious and malevolent rumors being spread by the townspeople, all of which, of course, are fake.
I mean, are these rumors related to this item? Or
No,
Something
they
I
were
should know.
related to an item previously sold to an ex-customer of mine who would have no longer be welcome here. They came in slinging accusations of the item being cursed, with no evidence and no peace of mind of what that may entail.
I don't know. It's 425 gold.
It's already 50% off.
And it does look like you really need to sell it currently.
425 gold.
Okay, deal.
Go
Dude,
ahead.
look at this sword. This looks like a Darling number 3 to me.
He's outside.
Oh, bollocks.
I can go get him. I feel unwelcomed. Is Cornelian in the store already? Like, currently?
No, Carnell's actually gone and meandered off.
Damn. Alright, then I won't do a funny. Well, once I see what he's saying to Andres, I would just walk towards the door and leave. And once I'm out, I would say to Cedric, Cedric, you should go inside. There's some items you might like. And I'll go around the store and basically shapeshift back to myself. And start going towards the ladies' garden.
Okay.
Okay, well, I've handed over the gold and got the item now, yeah.
While you said that, my eyes are like wide open, and I just see you like walk away. And when you turn around the corner, I'm still just kind of looking that direction, and then I just look at the store, and I'm like,
You hate to see her go, but you love watching her leave.
right. no, right. Items. I go inside.
When you enter the shop, you see Zinni wielding the Void Flame longsword whilst it's on fire. It's like 3 times the size of a.
I mean, so considering the price, I managed to get him down like 25 gold. I don't think you're gonna get 9.5k gold down much.
It's worth saying out loud right now.
Half
How much
price.
money do you guys have right now?
130 gold.
We've bought everything that's affordable to us at this point on that list.
Yeah, I mean, I've just spent 450. I'm down to 79 and 1 platinum.
Zinnia and Cedric are rich as fuck guys in comparison to the rest of us, but I believe that we should probably get it after the arena, and we can
Only got 2
help
platinum.
him.
At this rate, is his shop going to be
How?
here after the arena?
Zinni, I don't think you only have 2 platinum.
Well, then I'm missing some gold then because that's all it says in my sheet.
Let me have a look at this.
Don't look at me.
You've got 2
There's
copper.
two-
You've got 111 platinum.
Oh, sorry. Why does it say S? Oh no, SP. I'm looking at silver. Sorry.
I got 119 PP.
You're so fucking rich, the two of you.
Yeah.
The 2 of you have like 2,200 gold between you all.
Yeah,
Between
so
the 2.
after the arena, you can easily buy it.
So how much is
Zin-
the? Wait,
Sword's half price, so it's like.
I need to
4
RP
for-
this.
Okay.
We're too much meta talking, guys, this session. Anyway, I entered the store, still a bit confused by what just happened, and I'm seeing Zinni with a huge fucking flaming sword.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh!
I'm flailing it around like a lightsaber.
Like kind of backing off, you know.
It's a little bit too big for you.
I just watch out for that sword. Those flames can't be put out. I want to burn this guy's place down as well.
Oh shit! I need to be right back.
He just asked for RP time. He's gotta go. That's awful timing.
Excuse me, sir.
Mhm.
This doesn't seem like a very big list of items. You don't have any more items.
Funny you should say that. I'm just awaiting an introduction of new stock. I can't help but realize myself that the timing of it is a bit poor, given that I suddenly have learned that I need to pack up shop and leave. But rest assured, in the coming days, as soon as I get that stock, it will be immediately labeled and put for sale.
Half price?
It shall get
check
whatever price is befitting of it, and whatever price people are willing to pay.
Excuse me, sir. Why do you sound like you're about to cry?
My frustration at the situation is granted quite apparent. Know that I am deeply perturbed by my need to leave the city, and find it a great injustice. But I recognize the futility in challenging it. Apologize if my demeanor is a bit unbecoming, but it has been a bit of a challenging few days for me recently.
Sir, what if we could help restore your reputation?
And pray tell, how would you plan on doing that? I'm all ears.
You may have seen the posters around town. Upcoming arena match.
Ah, you're right. That is you, isn't it? Yes. No, I know. I'm very well aware of your group.
And
I would not like to take you up on whatever offer you may give me. I think our group has done enough.
what have we done, sir?
It is your compatriot that has put me in this current predicament.
Well,
and I shan't
allow
like
us-
to ask that you write anything that is already drastically wrong.
At least hear me out, sir. We may be able to
Harsh
Repair
your
your
tongue
reputation.
before I have you thrown out. You are lucky I am still willing to sell to you.
Don't throw us out yet. Scop's got to buy this sword.
Yo, what the fuck is happening? Also, sword. Isn't there some ring? Like, what's going on?
There's a lot of items here. They've been posted in the general chat for your perusal.
What? Why is Baylor? Baylor fighting.
Baylor.
Baylor.
He asked if he could try and help restore his reputation, and given that Baylor then pointed out that, hi, we're part of the group that Anxi's in, he
Yeah.
wasn't all that pleased. My hand fucking hurts from tensing and almost breaking my pen.
I see Baylor discussing this with him, and I kind of interject because I'm still disguised as a
Mhm.
random upper resident. I was like, it might be worth hearing him out. I mean, they're generally regarded as a pretty good group. I'm sure they weren't meaning to cause any of this.
I'm aware of the group's effervescent prestige and acknowledgement of how well liked they are among the city. I personally like to tend to my own problems myself, and I would rather not have their assistance.
I mean, look. I just look around like, that seems to be going well for you. Is there anything to lose with trying it?
Only my sanity.
You could absolutely take advantage of the situation.
Please, if you are not here to buy anything, do not
I'm-
question any further.
I'm here to buy something, sir. Sorry. I don't know these people. I'm just here to buy something. Anyway,
And I kind of push everyone aside and I stand in front of the counter.
I hear you have some pretty nice ring.
Yes, it's over there. Go and read the plaque.
Alright. I will.
So 8k gold. That's what is that, like 80 platinum or some shit? Or
800 platinum.
That's it. We can't afford anything.
And
here.
currently,
What do you mean?
this
Yeah.
store is 50% off everything inside, so it's 400 platinum.
Wow. Yeah. Cool. We still cannot afford anything.
Uh-huh. Right. City, can I afford this?
Maybe if you ask the man nicely.
You mean the man that's very upset right now?
Yeah.
No. I don't think so. Alright, fuck it. Sure.
Yes?
How are you doing? Actually, scratch that. What a terrible thing that just occurred. I feel for you, sir. I hope you can forget about this little incident that just happened. These strangers, man. What the hell, right?
I don't care for them.
Yeah, that's the spirit. Fuck 'em, right? Fuck 'em. Yeah, that's just how I go through life. All alone. Don't know these guys at all.
I just pretend to be really surprised and awestruck. I'm like, are you Cedric from the Way of Wanderers? I've seen all the posters.
Literally asked Zini.
So wait, you asking that to Cedric?
Yep.
Okay, so I look at you for at least 5 seconds. All right, there's some computing going on. All right, I'm just looking at you. My eyebrows are twitching all over the place.
Yeah, yes, that's me. Yes, also the defender of that one city with a really big monster that I killed all by myself, by the way. Yeah, that's me.
Yeah, good luck on your arena match. Looking forward to watching
You,
it.
you're so kind, stranger person that I do not know or ever seen before. Anyway, right. About that ring.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I do have a pocket full of platinum. I really do. And
Sure you do, my good man.
it's just burning there in my pants, really. I don't really spend any money, but then I caught my eye on this ring, you see. I think it's called the Ring of Cat's Grace. What a magnificent name that is, by the way, for a piece of jewelry. Very well picked out. Did you pick that out yourself? Did you come up with that yourself?
I made it specific order for
Genius.
it.
Absolutely genius. Alright, so if I show you this pocket of platinum I have, and mind you, I'm not great at counting myself. I'm a bit of a worry. I'm good at what I do. Counting's not part of it. Alright. It's just it would really help me in the tournament that's in 2 days, I believe. And I set my little pouch of platinum on the counter
Mm-hmm.
and I look at him with like sparkling eyes. No, even better, I put my elbows on the counter, I lean over and I put my head in my two hands and I'm just like looking at him, you know, like weirdly trying to be cute in a way.
Roll me a persuasion check with disadvantage.
To 20s. Oh god.
It seems, my good man, that you are slightly short of the necessary price to be able to afford this wondrous ring.
Oh,
I
bugger.
do dearly hope that you'll reconsider and come back once you've earned your winnings that I'm sure you'll get from that arena fight of yours.
Well, good, sir. I respect you and the business you're trying to run.
I wish
come
other
back.
people did as well, my good man.
Alright. Well, I wish you have a good day then. Alright, two strangers that I've never met before. Goodbye, goodbye. See you later.
And I'll leave the room.
I just look back at the guy and like, oh, best I leave as well.
Right.
Thanks for the item, and I head out.
Mm-hmm. And you, Gnome Girl, is there anything else that you'd like to peruse while you're here? Tony. Is she here?
Tony!
I'm teaching Guy how to make the bed. He's put a pink bottom sheet on with purple pillows.
Oh, who the fuck cares? The colours in your bedroom only. Ain't no one gonna see it.
I mean, that's not really about teaching you to how to do the bed. It's just more like what colors go together. Maybe
Poor
Scott
guy.
might.
Anyway, Zinni, you're
Yes.
the only one left in the shop, and this dude looks fucking pissed.
No, I don't want to buy anything. Thank you, bye.
Bye! Dude, I wish my role would have been good. Fuck! That would have been so good. I was charming my ass off. I'm mad.
You are.
So I
But-
might have made that role slightly harder for you.
No, I think he already did make it hard for himself. He was literally like, I don't know these people, and then he was like, oh, Zini, do I have enough money for that?
I think Thranduin is already very well aware of your group's composition and each of you that make up it.
Which is why the disadvantage, yeah.
And the fact that he's extremely giga pissed and already having to do something he hates doing.
Oh well.
AKA giving a discount.
Oh, before I leave, I just reach into my pocket, pull out something, and just say, "Have a smiley day to you."
Fuck, we're on a Constitution saving throw for this guy. What's the DC?
Smiley day to you.
I don't know. It's not.
It's going to be your spell save DC.
Okay. 15.
15, and it was a con save. You watch as this absolute face of disgust starts to crack and push a smile into itself as he
sits there, unable to stop smiling.
See, that's bound to help your sales. Just walk out.
As tears start to slowly form in the man's eyes, you leave his store. And you find yourself out in the nice afternoon light. So,
Please say we're going to run into him in the next city we go to. He's opened up a new store.
where is it that you guys are going? It was back to the Ladies' Garden, right?
Yeah, I'm already going there.
Okay. Well, as you guys are making your way back, all the way along the city, going past the arena, seeing your guys' magnificent poster, which previously had Sidric as the centerpiece, flanked by Anxi and Andros. Now, Carnellan's visage has basically been taped over the front of it, and you can only sort of see like the edges of Sid's shoulders as Carnellan stands there magnificently, and behind his head, smouldering. And what previously said Wayward Wanderers, it now says Carnellan and Fighters.
Oh, for
Love
fuck's
that.
sake.
Oh my god.
Fucking typical, isn't it? He's not even that. He's smaller than me. It's like, it comes to like my chest. I can't fucking deal with this. I'm hungry. I'm gonna get something to fucking eat.
At the sight of this most absurd discrimination towards Sidric that he really detests, you guys storm back to the Ladies' Garden. And as you enter its abode, its nice familiar atmosphere, clerks at the desk, plenty of patrons from all different backgrounds, as this is a central hub of people who wish to stay in the city, that is where we will bring tonight's session to a close.
I'm
What-
going
what-
to be in a very bad mood next session.
But where did our leader go? What the fuck happened with him? We're only fighters now.
I think it's basically going to be a concert battle between Carnelian and.
I mean, you think that's
Michelle.
bad before. It was previously you guys as the big centerpiece that said the Wayward Wanderers, and then in small text underneath it versus the Troubadours. It now is just Carnellan's picture over the front of you guys, and it just says Carnellan and Fighters. The Troubadours aren't even mentioned anymore.
And we're fighters. I kind of prefer it.
I would like to mention though, like with the Carnellan and Sid arc right now,
Mm-hmm.
there are some moments where Carnellan did earn a little bit of respect.
Yeah,
per
yeah.
se.
I think you mentioned those before. Yeah, yeah.
But it keeps rubbing him the wrong way.